dramatic.
Harry Maguire will still play ahead of him. In England's got the...
Have you seen West Ham come for 30 million bid for him?
Take it. What do you think?
Like, I think you could squeeze out a little bit more money, but we're probably going to try and squeeze out more from McTominay. I'll just take the 30 for Maguire.
The thing is, you're not going to get that money next summer, so just take it now.
Was they coming for Bayern as well?
Yeah, both.
Both.
Yeah.
Or 30 million?
They're bidding about 30 million a piece, yeah.
Should have took it for both of them.
Should have. 60 million for them two. Like I said, you're not going to get that.
Didn't they have even more than 30 million rejected for Conor Gallagher at Chelsea? Like 35, 40, something like that.
But then Conor Gallagher's much younger. And it's Chelsea, they can get that money. We're not going to get 40 million.
I would just say give us the same money that you were going to give Conor Gallagher, and I'll just say then you got a deal.
I can already see a day though when McTominay leaves, Tamar's going to have a massive party.
Oh man.
Just take him and Fred. Just take me back to the old days. Pain. Two midfielders running around.
End of an era, McFred.
Just doing a cardio session in the middle of a field. No end product.
I can't wait to get into the mount thing. Hi, welcome to OverRHeads. I'm Ash. Got Tamar, Nathan, and introducing Glenn. He's a Liverpool fan. Leicester City fan, kind of.
We've been plenty of games together.
Yeah, so he's a mixture, but he's a dirty red. Well, we're all dirty reds in there. So. But, so Premier League 2023-2024 season. Look forward to it. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry, my season started already. I don't care.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope United have just as good a season, and really what I'm looking for from United as a United fan is less of the 4-0 defeats, 7-0 defeats, because we can't have that anymore.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, we can't have that anymore.
You literally said before the rest got in that we're going to concede some stupid goals.
I think we'll get into that later on, but I do think just the way the goalkeeper plays now, I think we will concede some shocking goals. But long term, I think it'll be better for the team.
I know you can't always predict these sort of capitulations of teams in the season, like the way Chelsea were terrible last season and the way Liverpool didn't have the season anyone would have expected. But I do kind of think that if people hit the levels that you think they're going to, then the quality is going to be even more compressed at the top. I think getting top four, even if you look at it from United's perspective, even though we've improved the team a lot in the transfer window, I think getting top four could be even harder than it was last season.
Yeah,
I think Arsenal have done really good stuff in the transfer market. City is City. Liverpool sorting out their midfield gradually. So
Newcastle, Aston Villa.
This thing you just keep reading off the names. Got Brighton as well. It's
Brighton keep getting all that young talent as well.
Yeah,
literally. Yeah. So.
Spurs might keep hold of Kane now, so that keeps them in the mix for top six. It's mad.
I would say I've just seen their £95 million bid from Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
110 million euros from now. So that could push them over the edge.
I can see it. How long's left on his contract?
Yeah, final year.
Yeah.
You take it. You take it, or what?
Spurs should take it because there's no way he doesn't go for a free.
Yeah,
what is Postecoglou going to do with that? He may get them, a good comeback season from last year and develop them. But what are they going to do in a season that makes Kane think, oh yeah, I'll stick out with another 3-4 year contract?
Yeah, do nothing.
He'll be gone.
Yeah, take that money now and just I don't know, buy someone or just leave it.
Because who are you going to buy in these last few weeks? They could have stolen a march on someone like Gonzalo Ramos or get him for Vlahovic.
It's 3 weeks left, isn't it? 3 weeks left of the transfer window, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get someone in.
If you get Kane gone now for roughly 110 million euros or £95, whatever it is, which I think makes perfect sense for Kane. To be honest with you, I think take it and go to Bayern, because in my mind, if you're actually going to want to win something, Bayern, you're going to go to Bayern.
Yeah.
You have a very good chance in the Bundesliga. You have a very good chance in their cup competitions, and you back in a European team in the Champions League that, no offence to Spurs, but knows how to win it.
Yeah, and it's probably going to score more goals as well over there.
But how badly does he want the Premier League?
The goals record, that's the
2 seasons
factor.
max, and he's got it. Is he willing to?
Is
leave?
it that and no title?
I think for him,
or
yeah.
silverware, or just that because I've beaten Alan Shearer.
Yeah,
think
you say 2 seasons. Well, he's only guaranteed 1
He's
season.
only got 1 season.
Because it's not guaranteed that. I know he'll go to a Premier League side after the contract's up.
I would imagine Chelsea and United would be
He
massively in
will
for him
100% go to
if he
United.
stayed.
If he stays at the Spurs and doesn't extend his contract, he's a United player. Guaranteed.
I don't think he'd even be at
I
United.
can't see him going to Chelsea.
No.
Couldn't see him going to another London
No,
team.
he won't go to Chelsea. That's Sol Campbell going to.
I think if United were going to do it, they would have done it now. Instead of paying 67 million for
Højlund.
Yeah.
In fact, I said that wrong. It's Højlund.
Oh yeah,
Højlund.
Is that the Holland rip-off?
Yeah, like the tribute band version of Holland.
Wish.
Basically, I think they would have done it now for him.
He was our top target, and I think we just wanted to learn from the past and not spend the entire summer chasing this one player to get hold of him. And then, if say we're finding out now, like Bayern are, that we can't, get hold of him. The season starts in a week, and you've not, signed anyone.
Man City did that a couple of seasons back. They were chasing Harry Kane. They wanted Harry Kane. They were ready to spend money, and it's never happened. And they didn't have like an in and out striker that season until the following when they bought Erling Haaland, and then. So that was they still won the league, but they were still without a traditional number 9 or a real big front man. And I think Sergio Aguero was out, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I think that's when he had to
there was
retire.
relying on like Mahrez,
Foden.
Foden and stuff like that.
Yeah, Foden was like a false 9, and
they still won the league.
At least the
didn't they?
Guardiola side can do that.
yeah.
But no, I don't think no one side could do that.
It was a massive sliding doors moment because if Levy gives in and lets Kane go to City, do they pursue Haaland as much over the next few seasons? You can blame Levy for inflicting Haaland on us.
I think Haaland goes to United.
I don't think we've ever seen Erling Haaland in a United shirt.
For a couple of years, and it's impossible.
That boy's family's Man City through and through. I think that was the only destination he was ever going to go from Dortmund. I don't, unless he has a massive U-turn and decides to go over to Spain for some unknown reason why they still love Real Madrid and Barcelona. City was the only place he was going. But for Harry Kane, the only team I would have thought in England would have been Man United. Actually, probably would have suited Harry Kane down to the ground, and I thought he would have done it now, but they haven't. And they've probably done actually a smarter job by going for someone younger instead of trying to get that experienced striker who you're probably only going to have for about 2 years.
How old is Kane?
He's 30 now.
Is he 29 turning 30? Was he 30 already?
Yeah, his birthday's like the day before mine.
He does pick up some injuries as well. So.
But he hasn't had the usual injuries for a while.
He does pick
He usually picks up an ankle injury and he's out.
He'll still get you over 20 goals each season. Even
I mean, last season, if it weren't for Terminator, he would have smashed it.
He had an incredible season that was just overshadowed.
I think his move to Bayern would be good for him. I think it has get more years longevity in his career in the German Bundesliga.
That's true.
And then he'd have service from like Leroy Sané, from Serge Gnabry, from Leon Goretzka, Joshua Kimmich. I think he'd probably do well, and I think he'd actually win something, and I'd probably take that more.
If he wants to win,
beating Alan Shearer's record.
Yeah. If he wants to win, he goes to Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
But I honestly think he wants that record. I think you saw how much it meant to him to win the World Cup Golden Boot.
Yeah.
And then Golden Boots in the Premier League.
He actually lifted the World Cup. We want to see the World Cup.
That individual award was great, mate, but we wanted what he's got there now.
Yeah.
It would obviously be massively satisfying for him to end that, lifelong drought of not getting a trophy with the Bundesliga. But also, we know that the Bundesliga would still only mean this much compared to winning the Premier League for him. So it's whether he thinks, I know I'm getting older, but if I give it one more year, I can get a move within the Premier League and have a shot at it.
I think Kane's saying that Tottenham this season winning the FA Cup and scoring another 30 goals is bigger and better for him than winning the Bundesliga. Genuinely.
I mean, to be fair, the FA Cup is big. In this country, it's massive. So,
I genuinely...
The FA Cup is big. I mean, everyone in this country wants the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone wants the Premier League more, but you probably next start is the FA Cup. I mean, look at Man City last year.
Yeah.
They wanted everything, so... And they got
So they almost got everything.
Yeah, they almost got everything.
Quadruple on it, yeah.
500... Who won Carabao? You won it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Big up Carabao.
I mean,
I was watching a clip earlier. Carragher was talking about a conversation that he had with Shearer, where he said to him, if you had to pick between being the all-time Premier League goal scorer and that one Premier League that you won at Blackburn, what would you take? And Shearer said, my job was to score goals. And that, you know, implicitly that meant more to him. Which, you know, not everyone would agree with that.
Harry Kane's cut from the same cloth. I'm telling you, he wants the record.
Not all the greatest goal scorers have won tons of trophies, you know. Especially in the UK, you know, Lineker, someone like that, you know.
Yeah. But anyway, that's Kane. You know what you see? What was on about United? I mean,
What? Mason Mount.
Yeah, Mason Mount.
Oh,
We'll come on to the Liverpool in a minute. It was I've got to get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Mason Mount, how do you feel? Because there's two different sides here. First off, Mason Mount at United tomorrow.
You know, I don't.
The Old Trafford board were like, okay, we're moving on McFred, but who is Tamar going to have to complain about? Maguire's going as well. We've got to do something. Oh, Mason Mount, perfect.
I think obviously pre-season doesn't really matter, but
Well, don't
you want to win
battered
games.
anyway.
You want to win games, get the confidence up. I just think it doesn't work. A midfield three of Casemiro, Bruno, and Mount doesn't work. There's no balance there. I don't think you've got a reliable enough player to go back other than Casemiro, and he can't do it all by himself.
No, Ericsson struggled with that.
And Ericsson struggled with that last
You watched
season.
him last season.
He was a passenger. He was a ghost at times.
60 minutes,
he won
60
it.
minutes, legs
Yeah.
were
Very much a playmaker,
Yeah.
but when it came to the tracking back, it
Yeah.
happened sporadically. Where you saw Casemiro was somebody who was having to do a lot of the hard work tracking back.
Yeah.
And then you do see it accompanied with Martinez. I can see why people started a good season last season, because them two, as a midfield to defensive pair, they were quite good.
Yeah.
To be fair, apart from the old Harry Maguire slightly in there. But you have your creative player. You have Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
You don't need another one. You
No.
you need a box to box.
I think to
midfielder
rotate, I think I'm happy for him to be there to rotate with Bruno, but to play alongside him, it just doesn't make any sense.
You need what I'm going to say is you need your Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Who will go box to box to box to box, who will keep on going up and down, who can ping a ball places, who can also track back and actually look over his shoulder and knows where somebody is. But then also intermingle in between the midfield, and not where you've got two very attacking-minded midfielders in Bruno Fernandes and Mount, who are going to want to try and do the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
Now, unless you are going to rely everything on Casemiro to sweep up and pick everything up and just keep feeding you onwards, you're going to be struggling. That midfield's going to, unless he changes the formation.
Well, yeah, I think it is going to be more of a 6 and 2-8 now, rather than having Fernandes just behind the striker.
Yeah.
So obviously that still means that Mount has to do a lot more defensive work than he may have before, but I think Ten Hag genuinely believes he can. I agree that he's not got that destroyer element to wipe everything up, but he is excellent out of possession. I think that's part of what Ten Hag's looking for.
It couldn't surprise me. He couldn't do what like Guardiola's done with John Stones and put him in that holding midfield role. And the thing is, I've never thought I'd see John Stones be able to carry the ball like he does in that holding midfield, because it never would have ever thought that. But he seems to have took like a duck to like water, and he's done well with it. And this could be something that might end up changing Mason Mount into his game.
I'm not a big fan of Rabiot, but we were linked a lot with Rabiot throughout the summer.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't have minded Rabiot coming in there, playing alongside Casemiro and Bruno, and then Mount being another option from the bench. Because then you would have had Casemiro sitting, destroying, Rabiot box to box, and Bruno being the creator. But I just don't see how it's going to work with Bruno and Mount doing the same job essentially.
I think part of it could come down to who we're playing each time. So the other midfielder we're supposed to be looking at, presuming we can sell, Fred, Donny, whoever, is Amrabat, who I think suits that kind of role a bit more.
I would be happy with him coming in and Mount coming out and it being those three in midfield.
I think if you're trying to, again, it depends on the level of the opposition. If we're having to go and play, City, Liverpool, or whoever, it may be a case of, Amrabat makes more sense. But I don't know, Ten Hag seems to see him as pivotal, like he's going to be another undroppable player like Fernandes, gives him the number 7 shirt,
What do you think
hyping up as being incredible.
That's a big number.
It's not very United to give him the number 7.
Yeah.
I just find that a bit weird.
I think we should have
Garnacho
held
was
off.
pissed.
I mean, I don't think Garnacho should have gotten it either.
Not yet.
But certainly
some
not
point.
Mount.
No,
Not
yeah.
Mount. Not a centre midfielder. That just puts me off.
It was a bit strange, but
I would have loved it to go to Sancho, but yeah.
Oh, you a fucking Sancho, man.
I'm a big Sancho fan.
maybe it just stops the obsession with it. Give it to someone who's going to be reliable, give you, decent games all the time, even if they're not going to be spectacular. Then it stops people just thinking, oh yeah, we need this, special heir to, best and Ronaldo, that kind of thing.
As far as I, Sancho's the heir to the world.
Yeah, he picked 25 because it added up to 7. Like,
Well, Fred's going to leave. Give him the 17 now.
Yeah.
That'll be alright.
I think Højlund is going to get 17. I think.
Oh yeah.
Apparently.
Do you know what I was going to say? Could give him the 11, but then Mason Greenwood's still there, isn't he? Lurking in the shadows.
I don't. They
Yeah.
can't.
Supposed to be a decision on that soon.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling it's going to be a decision that I do not like, but
Well, there's videos of him training, isn't there?
I mean, he's got to train regardless, because even if the club were to say, "No, we're letting you go,"
There's a picture of him
he'll be off somewhere.
Well, Elanga's gone now, but there was a picture of him and Elanga training together. So I think he shouldn't play for the club again, really, should he?
He shouldn't play for the club again at all.
But I think if he does come back, send him on loan straight away. Just get him out.
There's no way he's going to be ready to
No,
come back in anyway, if that's what you were going to do. Like, I think there's no way he actually plays for United this season in any capacity anyway.
If he did play for United again, I just can't see the fans accepting it. For all fans for the Premier League accepting it.
And United get enough stick as it is already. You bring back Mason Greenwood after everything that happened.
I mean, just look at what happened with the shirts. When it all come out, all the United fans are taking the shirts back, everything.
His case was crazy because there was video evidence and
Pictures,
that went
video,
straight on social media.
I think even with the pictures wouldn't have been enough, but the voice record. The voice record just killed it.
How he got away with it is literally, I'm sorry, but they've paid someone off. They really have. Because you should not get away with that.
Well,
when that's there in front of you and you can hear it, you hear the video recordings and you're like, okay, there is literally no escaping this.
And it somehow has got away with it.
And it's hard to. I mean, it's like you put down to maybe like the Luis Suarez situation with Patrice Evra, and it was all he said, she said, and you think, did he? And then he's saying he did, he said he didn't, but there's no video, there's no actual recorded evidence that he said what he said, apart from the biting. You might have bit. This is where you heard it, and you know he's done it,
and you see the blood on the face as well.
Yeah, and you're like, this is something that no matter if it was done behind closed doors, and then it came out that it's all wrong, and he goes back into the shirt. No one will be none the wiser, and everyone is the wiser with this. And you're like, that's such a hard thing. I don't like you said. He either gets put on loan, or he gets trained with the academy. You stay down, and you're like, because he's probably not. He's nowhere near match fit. He's probably had no game time. So he's going to be okay. You're going to have to be relegated to like the academy or the reserves or something like that for now, until maybe you figure out what the situation is. And if you do become match fit, maybe you do go out on loan in January, or maybe someone is willing to buy you in January and you go, and then you where it be. He's such a hard case, and I think you'd find it hard to get into any of the team.
It'll just be hostile.
Yeah,
hostile every match. It would just be the topic of discussion every match.
Look at I know it's a bit different. It's still a bad thing. Look at Zuma when he kicked the cat. I know there's a different thing.
And so everyone's forgot about that.
Literally, the amount of abuse he got just from the away fans going every game, even from West Ham fans giving abuse.
That cat had done nothing wrong.
I know it's different to obviously beating a woman up, but it's still a bad thing, and that's just said,
I totally forgot all about the cat. Zuma and the cat.
If there's one thing that's going to rile people up in this country, is beating up pets. And Zuma definitely.
That was bad.
The Greenwood situation.
The club's got to show that it has standards that aren't just about what's on the field. It's about what's off the field, and that doesn't have to rely on a conviction. Obviously, they're completing their internal investigations into everything. There is some stuff we don't quite know about as to why the case couldn't be brought to court, and it is strange that, because it shouldn't have had to rely on her witness testimony. But then, not legal experts on that or anything, but it's the message it sends out. Like, what is a player worth? The thing they should ask themselves is, if this was a player who didn't have Mason Greenwood's ability, they would not be entertaining the blowback for this at all. So again, it's like, what we valuing more, success or whatever, or is it just like actually values that these football clubs claim to have as brands and everything? What could United? United could never stand on some kind of platform and say anything about women's rights or anything like that if they're going to say, but he was really good, so we decided to keep hold of him.
So how would it make the women's team feel? How would it make them feel? They're probably thinking, why do I want to play for this club? It's just like stuff like that. But
Tricky one.
And then you got Wolves, your first game of the season at home.
Wolves are a bogey team for United as well.
There's no Ruben Neves anymore.
It's the
no edge of the box screamers.
Freak.
First game.
I think Wolves are going to struggle this season.
Oh yeah, I think they're going down.
You think?
Yeah, but also first game of the season, literally first fucking game, and it looks like Lopetegui might be going, and we're already facing a new manager bounce. First game of the season, we did that about 5 times last season.
Still 3 weeks away. Somebody's already.
The fact that Wolves already thinking
contract. He flip it.
But this is going shit.
It's not even
new
October.
manager, we might do a bit better. Yeah.
I think we'll win that one though.
Oh yeah, I think we'll comfortably win it. They scored the least goals last season in the Premier League, I think it was. Jimenez has gone, and okay, he's not the player he was, but they don't have much else apart from Neto that are going to score goals.
Is Costa still there?
I think he went. It was just a year, wasn't he? It was just as well he just showed up and elbowed a few people. All he fucking did. But no, if we want to segue onto relegation predictions, I think Wolves are down.
I think they'll be teetering on that.
Fulham, I think, are going to be another one to struggle.
I think they'll struggle.
We'll do relegation predictions now.
Yeah.
So you start, and you think Wolves?
I think Wolves, Sheffield United. I mean, if they're selling one of their best players away to Burnley, then what fucking ambition is that?
Verge, isn't it?
And then it's tricky for the third one. There's a few candidates for it. We'll see whether Bournemouth kick on, but I think they'll just about be safe. I think they'll scrape through again. Luton are just that unknown quantity. I'm not sure they've got enough to stay up, but I could be wrong. It's so easy to underestimate the team.
See, I think Luton, Everton, they can't do it. I don't think they can keep doing it. Yeah. And I reckon Dijk might be the first manager to go. So
he's already complaining about the lack of transfers.
I think with Luton, Everton, then for me it's between Bournemouth and maybe Burnley. But I think Burnley will go back to stay in the Premier League for a while. Just get there. We'll see what Vincent Kompany does in the Prem.
Yeah, I kind of fancy them to do right under Kompany with the football they were playing. Like, I don't think they're necessarily going to be one of those sort of storming teams that finishes top 10 in their first season.
No.
But I think that's just because of how competitive the Premier League is now.
Yeah, but I think Luton and Everton for me are going down, and I think maybe Bournemouth.
I'm tempted to say Luton might be another derby from a few years back. In terms of the points tally. I don't think it'll be that bad, but I do think Luton are going to struggle.
20th, I've got them down. I think to myself that Luton will be in 20th. I think they'll have a good go at it, but they could be on that level of Derby. And how many points can you think Luton can scrape against? The only teams I can think of is either Sheffield United, Burnley possibly, because I believe they came up with Burnley, didn't they?
Yeah.
Maybe like your Bournemouths, your Nottingham Forest, but definitely I think Luton will be going down.
It's so much of this going to be easy to see in 3 weeks because it's just so many teams have just barely signed anyone yet.
This is it.
West Ham has signed no one yet.
I don't think I've actually.
It hasn't really kicked off, has it?
No, I think I've not looked at a table ever in my life and actually think more than 3 or 4 will go down.
Yeah.
Normally it's hard to think. Normally you predict the teams who've gone up most likely normally go down, or at least 2 of them normally go down. But this is where I think Luton will go down, possibly Sheffield United, Bournemouth, Everton. I think Nottingham Forest are going to be someone that might be teetering on the edge of going down.
Yeah, they've not really. They've brought in a Langer, but apart from that,
Turner,
West Ham, one of them teams that they flirt with a relegation for quite a long time this season, and sometimes either they just end up picking it up.
Or they'll end up spending their money. It's just how wisely. I'm sure they'll spend enough that means that they're going to be fine from relegation. But
the thing is, West Ham have a habit of buying flair players, but they don't have a flair manager. Ben Rama.
Yeah, they signed all the fair players under Pellegrini, and then it didn't really work. And then
they had Felipe Anderson as well from Lazio. Yeah. To me that was, I thought, that's really wicked. He's come to the Premier League, and then I was like, he's doing nothing.
Yeah,
I'm so upset because I thought it was one of the things that, it was that he's a South American talent. He thinks that this is going to be somebody who bring a bit of flair, a bit of creativity, and I was like, he just didn't see it as much as.
I think that's exactly why Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire would be perfect for him.
I think those do make sense. I think it fits with Moyes. I think he's been butting heads with his director of football because West Ham are constantly like, okay, the second we get some stability, now we can play some more expansive football. And it's like, well, you've bet everything on Moyes now, getting the kind of players he wants. And I think Maguire and McTominay make sense. I mean, as funny as it was when I saw someone say that, seeing West Ham spend all their rice money on McTominay and Maguire sort of breaks your heart. It's like it's like you see a homeless guy spending his money on drugs. But that said, I do think McTominay and Maguire make sense for them. I think you'll still have a massive
they make
black
sense
hole left
for
by
Moyes,
right,
but I don't think they make sense for West Ham, and that's possibly why they're lowballing Manchester United at the minute.
Yeah, they want to see how far they can make.
I don't really think they want to back Moyes. I think he's in danger of going as well.
I'd even plead a case for Crystal Palace.
It was mad what Hudson did with them last season.
Seem to hover. Then they have a mid-season when they finish, and then they'll hover again. Then they'll do mid-season. So they're always you don't know what you're going to get with them.
They were a bit harsh sacking Vieira, but then Hodgson did brilliantly.
Yeah.
So
but they were teetering on that relegation area. They were like 16th, 17th. They dropped down into like 18th.
They went on a horrific run.
And then like I say they brought in Roy Hodgson, Mr. Dependable at Crystal Palace. Like this guy's probably got
Magic Grandpa.
He come in and he's fixed it all. But my worry is they've got rid of Wilfred Zaha. And now he's gone to Galatasaray now, isn't he?
Watch out for Galatasaray.
Yeah,
look very exciting.
I'll be watching him every week. And then they've got Eze.
He's quality, Eze.
Yeah,
and
but then even Elise's looking like he might go.
But he might go.
Man City.
Yeah. They should charge the fuck out of him for them. Don't let him go cheap.
And then was it striker Eduardo? Is it Crystal Palace have their striker Eduardo? Eduardo. I'm trying to think of anywhere else that you think. Okay, well this.
They've got good centre backs, Mark Gahey and Anderson. They've got like a decent spine of the team in terms of Eze. Midfield's quite strong. Centre backs are very strong, but then they've got a lot of flair, but then no goal scorers.
Yeah, they're another team that I would categorise as just good enough to stay up.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll go down. They might be in a relegation fight for part of the season, because I think it'll be like last season where there's 7-8 teams potentially in it for a long time. But I still expect there to be 3 teams worse than them come the end of the season.
Yeah, I think away from Selhurst Park, they're a team that look for the draw and try and go down, unless they go Manchester City and just end up scoring screamers, and then go to Man City away and win 3-0, and then next week they're away to Fulham and they lose, and you're like, okay. But at Selhurst Park, they seem to be, let's say, their fans are very on it, to be fair. But they're another team that I thought they could be there. They are on that.
So who are you going?
If you say Luton, Luton's going to be the one to go down. I think Sheffield United will go back down straight away again. So who's going to follow them? I'm going to probably say either Everton or Bournemouth.
Everton or Bournemouth.
Yeah, I was going to say Fulham, but
no, I think Fulham's fine.
Who's Silva? The manager? He's still there, isn't he? Now I know. So, I think he'll keep them up, and I think.
And he had an issue with Mitrovic.
Well,
he's gone, hasn't he?
He's gone to the Saudi League as well. They tried to take Silva with him. Yeah,
that's why I asked the question. I remember I read something that they were looking to take Silva to Saudi Arabia as well as a manager. I didn't know if he actually had gone. And I know Mitrovic was somebody who almost sounded like he outright refused to play for Fulham again unless you made him go.
But Willian now.
Has he actually gone to? Has he gone to?
Yeah, I'm sure he's gone.
Willian.
No,
sorry,
Mitrovic.
Yeah, that's all done. Yeah.
They signed Jimenez from Wolves as replacement.
Yeah, which is not really.
But he's not. I say since that injury, he's not done nothing.
He's not
He's
the
never
same
been the
player.
same. He's
No.
not.
But even Willian now, he's looking to leave as well, and he just signed an extension at the start of the summer.
Yeah.
And then
Is
now,
he looking to go to the Saudi Pro League?
Yeah,
Now he's getting offered all that money. Yeah.
But this is why I think they might struggle because
I need to start making like a
there's a lot of
combination
unrest.
video and put it on YouTube, and I might be able to get out there. I'll take a year's contract. I'll even take 50k or something.
I don't think I'd be in my 3. I think I just said Luton. I think Luton, Sheffield, and Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, Luton, Sheffield,
Yeah.
Wolves,
Sheffield United
Sheffield
and reluctantly Luton.
Luton.
I think Bournemouth I think Everton's going to be the one that would be like might surprise as you go back down, but I probably think Bournemouth's going to be in there. Bournemouth might end up finishing.
I just can't see Everton
Finishing
doing it.
18.
It might be the best thing
Third
for
year in a row.
Everton to go down, you know.
The only thing with them,
for
if they
years and
go
years, just been a
down,
mid-table club.
they've got that new ground being built.
Yeah.
They go down, that parachute money is going to straight towards
True,
other stuff.
true.
That will fuck them.
But you know what? I think for the Everton fans, it's you've been in the Premier League for God knows how long. You just finish in mid-table.
Yeah.
Then relegation after relegation battle.
Maybe go down,
Win
rebuild.
the Championship.
signed
They might be more happy than
It's
do that.
I think they've signed
Everton.
2 players, maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
I think I've seen something the other day where the teams that have done less signings. I'm sure Everton has had 2 next to them.
I don't know.
I'm not
They've not done a lot
sure.
of business, I don't think.
No.
It's been a very quiet summer transfer window.
Because everyone's going to Saudi Arabia, that's why.
Well, apart from the Saudi Pro League, it's been very quiet.
We're going to sign players, they're fine.
You're pinning everything on Kieran Drewsbury Hall now. This guy's going to have to be trying your saving grace and get you back to the Premier League.
I'll tell you what, no, that Drewsbury Hall, Winks, that Stefan, I can't remember say his second name. He looks good. See a little turn. You seen little turn?
Is it
not
Mavidi?
not a turn. We did like a.
Is it
The
Mavidi?
winner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
The news
But
number
the
10.
commentator was trying to say Ndidi and then Mavidi, and I was like, I'm getting confused now.
I thought he said
we need a nickname or something now because both end in Didi, and I was like,
Well, everyone on the ground just trying Steph, so that's it.
Oh,
yeah. But no,
I've spoken about Liverpool yet.
we'll get onto this. So we've got done a relegations.
Yeah.
Have we gone? Yeah.
yeah.
So Liverpool relegation.
Well, you never know. You know, went and came a close second a few years back, and then last season ended up just scraping a Europa League spot after going on a mad run of wins.
They did that thing again where when you had a really bad season a few seasons ago and you sort of pulled it back and somehow snuck into the top 4. Didn't quite do it this time, but there was that same thing where there was that resolve towards the end of the season.
Exactly.
And it's like Liverpool aren't done here. And then at the start of the transfer window, I was just thinking, shit, Liverpool are, not messing around. Got McAllister, amazing deal. Sloboslai. I worked out how to say that earlier and I thought Sloboslai, that's it.
Szoboszlai,
As well. Good signing, and it's like, right, they're just sorting out the whole midfield in one window, and then it's just suddenly stopped, and then okay, you may still have sorted it, but Saudi come in and take Fabinho and Jordan Henderson, and you get really good money for them, but also you've now given yourself this problem of how are we going to sort the number 6 position, because you've got Curtis Jones and Bajcetic. You want to be playing there.
No.
And you're quibbling over 5 million, 45 to 50 for Lavia.
I read Jamie Carragher's tweet and I agree with him wholeheartedly about
It's become an emergency. It's a self-made emergency.
Talking about X amount of millions. It's like, well, we have, say, you've just sold Fabinho, you just sold Jordan Henderson, so the pot of money's there. So we're talking about, is it 50 million for Lavia?
Yeah.
And I know they talk about looking at Andre at Fluminense as well. I don't know how much he's valued at, whether they think actually he's cheaper. But you're clearly going for Lavia for a reason. In my mind, pay the money. pay the money, because we haven't got another holding midfielder. So unless we're going to change the midfield three, so we're not having that holding midfielder anymore, then pay the money. Just pay the money, get him in. But Liverpool this season is, like I say, for last season we had a aging sporadic midfield of Fabinho, Curtis Jones, Henderson, and then you have James Milner in there. Thiago was in and out with their injury. There was no constant three, and I watched Fabinho all season, and he just looked somebody who was already felt like he was out the door.
He was a ghost of his himself, wasn't he? Yeah.
Every time you see him, it would be rash challenges. He'd get booked for silly things, and he'd see him put his hands up straight away. Yeah. He's like, you already know you've done wrong, and you've gone. And to me, he seemed like he was going. I didn't think Jordan Henderson would be going this transfer window. I thought he'd be going next year. Yeah. But he's obviously gone now. And then, so the next thing, I think what I am actually so happy about is they actually hit the ground running in the transfer window, and it was like, yes, we nailed in Alexis McAllister for 35 million, which I think was a
incredible deal.
You know, coming off winning the World Cup and having a blinder of season with Brighton, I was like, wicked. So we've got a number 10. We finally have a number, because since Coutinho left, we've not had a creative number 10. Yeah. It's just, you've had Thiago, and that guy can pass the ball brilliantly. It's like butter when you see him, the slide's gone. But not that creative midfielder that you'd like to have. And then it was, which I actually thought was completely out left field, was Szoboszlai. I was like, I didn't see that coming. But clearly he's a very well thought of midfield player, and they've said that's a good deal. So I'm like, well, let's hopefully the first. You know, it's not McAllister's first year in the Premier League, but this is going to be Dominic Szoboszlai's first game in the Premier League. See how he gets on. I hope we do get a whole midfielder, whether it's Lavio. I would be honest, I don't know much about him, and I can't say I've actually watched him play at Southampton. But this season, so I hope it all pans out well, and like every Liverpool fan, I'm very highly optimistic, and I believe we'll win everything bar the Champions League this year. But I go every season thinking the exact same thing. I'm in that mentality of we'll win every derby game, we'll win every big, well, I say big 4 games now, big 7, isn't it now? Top 17 games. And
do you think the team will be impacted by where Trent plays? If he plays at right back, do you think he's going to struggle again, or if he plays more of that inverted?
This is where I think if the formation is changing, and this could be where if we don't sign a holding midfield player, are we then in possession plays or out of possession plays putting Trent as the holding midfield player? I wouldn't want him to, not on his own. I don't think he's got the defensive mindset. Yeah, he's somebody that I always scream at the telly, look over your shoulder, and he doesn't seem to do it. But I think his gradual movement into midfield will be good.
Me personally, I don't see him as a midfielder. I just don't. I think
I see him more of a midfielder than I see him as a right back.
But then I just, like you just said, I just don't think he has that awareness, that speed of thought, playing in a packed midfield to pop passes off. He's been so good as a right back because of the time he has bringing the ball out of defence and spraying balls. I think in the midfield it's completely different.
He has done. I think it must have been in the last 3 or 4 games of the season when they started making this, when in play possession he would move out of right back and he would go into that midfield and he would find incredible passes. And then out of play, he goes back into right back. He goes to a back 4, and then out and in play, he goes to a solid back 3. It's going to be weird to see how it works with midfield of bringing in McAllister and Szoboszlai. I was going to keep trying to say that.
I think you could have a similar situation to United in the sense of you've got Bruno and Mount, Szoboszlai and you put McAllister. Who's a defensive?
If you're switching Trent to go into the midfield. Now, are we then now playing 3-5 or 3-4-3? Because you're never going to change the front 3. You're going to have, whether it be Gakpo, Jota, Salah, Nunez, or Luis Diaz. You're not going to change the front 3 because that's been pivotal to Liverpool for like the last 5-6 years. it's that midfield area. What are we planning to do with it if we are? But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Trent in this coming season, because I don't know the right back.
I think if you don't sign a 6 and Trent's having to play midfield, I think it's going to be a struggle. Just defensively, I think you're going to be so.
Yeah, I've watched him, and I don't. That's why I think he would suit some impact in the midfield more than right back, because the defensive mindset of Trent is not. It's not there. He's not like your traditional right back. I think even Jurgen Klopp said it once in an interview that he's telling him to play in a way because they would do a lot of inverted play between him and Robinson, and then overlapping. Yeah. And you can see Trent, he bombs, he goes. Robbo does the exact same thing. They're always up, but they're always in. They're not your traditional. I don't know.
I think Luis Diaz needs to have a big season this year.
After watching him in some of the pre-season games,
I know he's coming back from a lengthy injury, but I don't think he scores enough goals, and I think Jota. Yeah, I think Jota will at some point replace him in that left wing spot.
Well, this is where I think this is when I looked at our team now. In that left wing position, you can either fit Jota, Gakpo, or Diaz. Yeah. Even at some West Coast, you can even put Núñez there, because he's been on. He's come off that left wing and he's assisted Salah and a fair amount of games putting the ball across the box. No one's ever taken the right wing position, and I don't. And we've not even looked to even try and buy somebody to try and fit that right wing position. That Salah's and always been Salah.
Out there, you know.
Yeah, and in that middle, you can either put Núñez or Gakpo. But on that left side, and I've watched Liverpool's pre-season games this year, and every time I've watched Luis Diaz, he looks like he's a point to prove, and I believe that is because of the amount of lost time out with injury. He's realised there are at least 2 to 3 people who can fit in the same exact position as me. Now, what can I do to make sure that is me and not them? And I've watched him. He's looked lively. He's looked like he's a man on a mission to make sure that left wing position is his. I like him a lot. Yeah.
I think he's an exciting player.
Yeah.
I just don't think.
So I
just don't think he's going to be like a Mane, like getting you goals. He's not going to be like an 18 kind of.
I don't know. When Mane went, I don't think he actually realised how much of an impact Mane had on the team until he actually went and you realised.
But it's not only goals; it was the work.
Wow, I miss him. His movement is the way he found Salah, where Salah found him. Even when you saw Firmino drop off, and. I know we talked about Phil Foden, and he played the false 9. No other team, but to be fair, Liverpool made that model to begin with Firmino. Firmino's not a striker; he's that centre forward. He's that false number 9, and that fluid playing between him to Mane or him to Salah made that team, especially when they won the league in 2020, unstoppable. Yeah. And sadly, he fell off.
Do you think they could persist with Gakpo playing that kind of role?
I don't see Gakpo.
Not exactly the same way as before, but still.
I think
link that.
I think when you are going into maybe in certain games and you wanting your transition to be lightning quick, which what Liverpool was in that title win season, or the Champions League winning, it was as soon as that ball came out from the defence, that midfield, they found Firmino, and then Firmino found Salah. He's Sam Mane, and they were just gone. Yeah. And there was no catching them. I think he might play similar, but not as effective as what I think Firmino was. I think he's too tall, and I think he's
not creative enough to be
not
able to
like
do
what Firmino. Firmino had this fluidity about him and this flair where he was able to find them two. Like it was like magic watching them front three. They were like golden years for me. Like I've sat there and I've watched like Andy Carroll be my striker, and Andrew Barney, and you're like there were some dark days. Like really sitting there watching that team, or
like man, fucking hell,
like Vieira, like the Wearing, and like Maxi Rodriguez, and you're like, we can still win the league. And like.
That front three was some of the best football I've seen played in the Premier League.
But that was incredible. For them years with them front three, because the midfield wasn't like incredible. It was Wijnaldum, Henderson, Fabinho, and like I miss Wijnaldum. I never thought I'd say, but I really miss Wijnaldum. Like, that is that box to box. He was that engine.
Yeah.
But they were the only team to really threaten Man City. Yeah. The only team over like the last couple of years that I've seen that made Guardiola scared. and it was because of that effective front three. They were just devastating, and it's sad that they dropped off last season. And I think if Arsenal didn't have that really crazy run that they had, Man City probably would have ran away with the league again.
Said this. We literally said this on the podcast.
Yeah,
said if it weren't for Arsenal, Man City would have won.
They would have
won it.
I think they would have won it by 30 points.
There was no team pushing them to chase them. There was no team giving them that we need to do better. They probably would have just coasted to the league and won it. And before the last 3 to 4 seasons, that's been Liverpool pushing them to a point of where we went to a 98, 97 point season.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I'm hoping that comes this season. I'm big and highly optimistic. I am every season we will win everything. And you tell me that's going to happen, I'll tell you a lie. We are going to win everything. Even the Champions League, and we're not even in it.
I think Liverpool will be a lot stronger than last season. I think they'll score a hell of a lot of goals. I think they've done as good a job as you could hope for, having to, reassemble that front three, given what a classic lineup it was.
What do you think about Van Dijk? He needs to have a much better season.
Yeah,
and he's now he's got the pressure of being captain.
I think he was always going to be the only person I think was given the armband.
Yeah,
and even admitted last season he's just struggled from tiredness. I mean, Liverpool played in every single game possible the season before.
Yeah. Then he had the World Cup.
These things have to catch up with you.
Yeah,
it's like they wanted to do extended, stoppage time and all that kind of stuff, and it's just all these extra games and everything. And he's absolutely bang on.
I've seen Kevin De Bruyne's comments on it as well. This is going to be, and it's stupid.
It's fucking greed again. It's just money making game.
But then could you not just do what rugby did to stop the clock?
But it was literally this championship thing now. We're playing all the extra time. Like I watched the Sheffield Wednesday Southampton opening game. They're adding on extra time. They're not fucking around with time wasting.
But they did it in the World Cup, didn't they?
Yeah.
This one's where
you time waste
you had them like 8 to
9
minutes added on at the end of the game, and you're like, wow, this is really long.
It was like then
you're playing a 99-minute game or something.
Our game against Coventry ended the game 9 minutes.
That was 9 minutes at the time. Yeah.
It is good, and I do like the fact that the time waste, the crackdown on time wasting. You kick the ball away now, yellow card.
Yeah.
They are cracking down it, and it is better because you get more of a game.
Yeah.
But I think the players' arguments is you want us to care less, but exert more. So it's like you don't want us kicking the ball away. You don't want us arguing and pushing and shoving.
It's football. These things that you can't help having.
It's going to happen.
But it could occasionally get frustrating with some games where you think, how much time did the ball actually spend in play? But overall, how much do people feel like they're being shortchanged? Like not enough to make this kind of change.
But I think it's an issue across all sports. I mean, you look at tennis, for example. The 2012 Australian Open final between Nadal and Djokovic was like 5 hours long. But actually, the in-court play time was probably like 2 hours.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of time. Or something. So you've got 25 seconds on the shot on the serve.
I mean, all the other time was horrible. I mean, Sunday was horrible because 9 minutes out of line and commentary looked like it was going to fucking score.
The thing is,
and I was like, it's not like this.
But who's complaining about this lack of time? Is it actually the fans saying, look, there's not enough time being played? Or is it just the officials?
I don't think it is. I think it's the officials.
How this has come about, to be fair. It was something that came out of the blue.
Because I know I've never complained about it.
I think it's the officials.
I mean, whether it's like a new rule implemented because of time wasting, where they feel like it's just, again, you have in games where you see certain teams will either just players will fall to the ground, or they will try and run the clock down, and whether this is like a deterrent from you doing it. Will it do it? Well, time will tell throughout the season whether it does or not. But that was one of the things that came so out left field. I was like, well, this is not some news I expected to hear.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I do like now, though, in the season. You see the extra time on the clock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you see it in the stadium. So now you're like thinking, how long's left? You literally look, it's there. And like, yes, the fucking...
But I guess they have to stick with it, though. Surely, they can't just scrap it, after a few games.
I think they'd have to try it for the whole season.
They've got to give it a try for the whole season.
Like when VAR got trialled, I can't remember which league they trialled it in first or something.
That VAR's just a normal thing.
To see if it worked.
It's mad they test stuff at the World Cup. I find that insane.
I know, yeah. Of all places,
Yeah.
On the world stage.
We've seen the Women's World Cup when they do a VAR decision, the ref goes to the screen.
I like
comes
that.
out.
Yeah.
I like the ref goes on the mic,
It's like fucking
explains
gladiators.
stuff,
It's weird.
But they don't really explain the decision.
No,
they just
but they say
penalty.
like, yeah.
But I do like it.
It
I do
is.
like
It comes out. She says what's going to happen. Like, oh, it's a penalty or no pen or yeah. I do like
It's
it.
literally just theatre, isn't it? None of it's actually useful.
But
and okay if the theatre's good, but I don't know. It just doesn't really.
But
do
the only
well
issue
for me.
is with that, are you going to listen to the Premier League refs fucking come out and talk? So just try to say
Yeah.
penalty. You're like, fuck off, you cunt.
Anyway, back to your point about Virgil van Dijk. I know we went way off.
Well, we did.
I hope he's had a good pre-season. I think giving him the captaincy might give him a bit of a oomph now to actually be the Virgil van Dijk from a few years ago, and I hope he takes command of them back four and the rest of the team, and he shows that he is the captain and he'll be the captain for a reason and why I chose him. So I hope he has a good. I always hope he has a good season, and I hope he becomes that leader that we probably actually need, because it seemed Jordan Henderson, he was a good. I thought he was a good leader of the team, but everyone just didn't seem to be on the same page last season. Everyone seemed to be at a different tempo than what it was. I think it's probably why it was such a disappointing season last season. You played in the Champions League final, unfortunately lost to Madrid again. And then you think, okay, well, we go on to another good season. We finished second as well. And then to finish, what was it? I think it was his 5th, 6th. I can't remember now. I sort of blocked it out from my mind.
You put a good run together, didn't you? Almost caught United.
Yeah, so
Just didn't do enough.
and finished out of. So yeah, highly optimistic as always.
There's one thing I want to mention. Where do you think he'll be next season? Ward-Prowse.
Southampton.
Oh, it's the question everyone's asking.
Do you think he'll be at Southampton?
How long's left? How long's left of the transfer?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And no one really has come in for him.
It was linked to West Ham.
They've priced
But-
him out.
Yeah.
It's like the Lavia deal. They want 50 million for him. So I know we're arguing about
I think Liverpool will pay that.
5. Yeah, you're arguing about 5 million, and I think
Yeah.
he's worth it. But like, okay, you hope so. But James Ward-Prowse, he just sounds like he's been priced out.
Yeah.
I think Southampton are just like how much can we get?
He
And
signed
who's-
that contract though, didn't he? He only just signed a contract last year, 4-year extension or something like that.
Not sure.
Another Harry Kane situation. Like, why would you sign it?
But is somebody, if you think like, okay, is he massively impactful in the Premier League apart from free kicks? Is his
It'd fit in certain teams.
in and out position play worth paying tens of millions for?
He's
I
a-
think this is why he doesn't consistently get picked in the England squad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because
he's a
he's
good
just-
player, but I wasn't expecting him to go to a top 6.
No.
club or
No.
anything, you know.
I mean, you'd suit West Ham. You think like,
Yeah.
West
Yeah.
Ham is that
West
team
Ham.
that actually, if you think everybody's going to go for him,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
fits
yeah.
that model.
Ward-Prowse, McTominay, Susak midfield.
Oh gosh.
What a dire.
Devastating. Yeah, I see him at Southampton. I don't see anyone's going to try him, because it feels like Southampton will hold most of their players to ransom and keep them there. And
Well, they're going to try and come back up.
who's going to want to go in a bidding war when you feel like that's just not making my money's worth?
I think-
Southampton look like a decent side in the Championship there. If they keep those players,
Yeah.
coming straight back.
They looked decent Friday night.
Yeah.
But then Chef Wednesday, to be honest, they weren't the best.
It was,
They was good. They put a fight, but they weren't the best.
The Championship's always a different beast, though.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's like you watch. Like say you watch Leicester Coventry, and Coventry for mass parts of that game were quite threatening, and they lost out in the Championship playoffs, didn't they?
Yeah, far
Yeah.
from it.
So you play one of the better teams in the league as your first game of the season. But Southampton could be one team that I feel like could get lost in the ether of the Championship, and before you know it, they're like 6th, 7th.
yeah.
And some team could be like Luton, who have an absolute crazy run and make it all the way to the Premier League. That you
The
didn't
thing
expect
is
to
the
happen.
Championship
That's
as
the
well.
Championship.
It's a season of 2 halves. You can have
Yeah.
a great start, and you drop off, or you could have a shit start, and then you get
100%,
promotion.
yeah.
It's a season of 2 halves. You can't start thinking like, you can't be like 10 games in like, oh yeah, we're doing great. No, you've got another fucking 30 games.
It's a completely different
it's-
beast. It's a Championship. It's
It's a season of 2 halves. It always has been. So you never know what's going to happen. It's way too early to even think. Like everyone's like, "Oh, Leicester are going to win it." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!" No.
teams just can't quite dominate the league. I mean, I was thinking Middlesbrough were a good shout for being champions, and they lose their first game at home to Millwall.
Yeah.
I mean, Burnley obviously dominated last year. They did well, but it's rare you get that. It's a hard league. It's a tough league. I'm looking forward to the season. I really am, because there's so many great teams in the Championship this year. But we'll see what happens.
Who do you think is going to be a surprise package in the Prem this year?
In the Prem. What counts as a surprise?
Or
But
someone
everyone's
that
expecting Villa to do
Someone that
alright.
could break in that top
but-
4.
It's all top 4. I don't see anyone breaking in that's unusual.
I mean, if we were to class unusual Newcastle, maybe because they haven't been in there, but they had a really good last season, and what, they finished third, was it?
Fourth,
was it?
Yeah,
So
United
could
took
they?
the spot, didn't
yeah.
Could they do that again this season?
They're signing decent players, but they're not transformative players that sort of raise the ceiling of
I
the side.
think with Newcastle, it depends how they do in the Champions League. If they get knocked out of that, if they go to the Europa League, and
There's always the thing, taking European football.
that's what might do it.
They haven't signed their Robinho yet, have they? They've not had their Man City moment.
I'm so annoyed they've not had like a banter era of just signing ridiculous players. They've just been smart straight from the beginning.
You just don't. The thing with New, you don't know what they're going to do this season, because they could. Let's face it, Champions League, last 16, quarter final, knocked out.
They're fortunate with the group, maybe.
I think they get knocked out of the group. I think they're straight down to Europa.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Europa.
I still don't think the midfield is strong enough. I think defensively they look very
Was it
good.
Joe Linton, Guimaraes?
And
They've
what,
signed-
Joe Willock?
Yeah.
Oh, they got Tonali now.
Tonali now.
Oh,
Yeah. I was amazed that Milan let him go.
Yeah, I know.
That was a proper like Premier League domming another league. Just saying. Newcastle taking him from Milan is mad. But, yeah.
I see Aston Villa probably now posing a bit more of a threat. Tillman gone to there. You got Diaby from
Watkins is carrying on good
from
form.
Leverkusen.
Got a really smart manager.
Yeah.
I'm still
Pau
salty
Torres,
about
what a signing.
I know, from Villarreal.
Yeah.
Pau Torres,
Wowzers.
yeah. United were linked with him.
That was
Yeah,
some
I remember
Spanish
him,
influence there, and he's like he's brought him over. But yeah, they seem like a team that could probably end up trying to make a push for top 4. Whether they get it or not, they might end up falling off. It's like Spurs. I don't think Spurs will get it. I think Spurs are going to be about 8th this year.
Yeah.
Especially if Harry Kane takes the deal at Munich. I can see him. Well, you got James Maddison. Well done. And it's
If Kane goes
that's
and they
that-
don't replace him, they could have a job getting the top half.
Hung Min Son left up there by himself. You know,
Charlatan.
and you can see them finishing about 7th, 8th, and not getting European football. That's at the conference position. I don't know. I think I don't tend to try and associate myself with that sort of position. But yeah, it seems like Aston Villa might end up pouncing on an opportunity if Spurs do falter. But you watched that Brighton last year. Brighton had a storming run in the league, and they were there top half the table. And you think stuff like, well, could they now break into? Could they make it top 5? Could they get Europa League or something? You like?
It's whether they can do this whilst they're now in the Europa League as well.
Yeah,
Europa League or Conference League?
I think they're
in Europa League.
Europa League.
I think I'm sure Brighton are in Europa League.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
I know Liverpool. Is there only one spot?
No,
in Europa
because
League?
West Ham won the Conference League, so they're in the Europa League.
Yeah, they're in Europa
And
League.
Liverpool's in there.
Liverpool are in there, so I think it might be Conference.
No, 7th spot, but you still.
I thought that's the conference position.
No.
Can you have 3 teams in the Europa?
I think you get an extra slot with West Ham. It doesn't take one away.
Yeah, I think-
This is like that whole Liverpool thing when Liverpool won the Champions League and they finished in like the top 4. And they made an exemption just because you won it. So it's like top 5. Or was it top 3? Wasn't it? Then they made
Which
top
is
4.
reasonable, but also embarrassing.
Yeah, it was like let's go back.
8th is Conference League.
So Brighton finished 6th.
That's Europa League.
So
Yeah.
That's Europa League.
That's Europa League.
Yeah.
so then because Aston Villa
They finished 6th last season.
7th.
I didn't-
I say
They were
Spurs.
close to getting into the top.
Spurs
top 4.
finished 8th last season.
Yeah.
And so obviously they've got no European football this year.
No, they're in
Is
conference.
8th conference?
I don't know. 7th is conference, I think. I'm not sure about 8th.
Okay, so Europa Conference League qualifiers, and that's Aston Villa. And then the Europa League group stage, there's 2 teams, Liverpool and Brighton. And then the top 4 is Champions League, so Man City, Arsenal, Manchester United.
So where West Ham?
They get a position in Europa, right? For winning the Conference League?
Yeah, because you win the Conference League, you get in Europa League, you win the Europa League and Champions League.
I would assume we've got 3 teams in the Europa League this year.
Yeah.
So that's Liverpool, Brighton, and West Ham. And then you've got Aston Villa, who are playing in the Europa Conference League this year.
Oh, okay.
So,
Europa League is just such a killer, man. It can just...
It is. That's what done
the
is.
whole season off.
It's what done is.
Yeah.
It's just, you had, we had basically 2 seasons of it on the Thursday nights.
Yeah.
It just done it. It done.
I don't know. Nothing hits like a Thursday night European football night. Like, you can have your Tuesdays and your Wednesdays, but that Thursday night, start the weekend, that was there.
The football team's over, flying back, and then you're playing on a Sunday.
It's just too many rounds.
That's it.
It's like round
you
get 32,
drop down to the
16,
Champions League teams, which then adds to the already huge pot of Europa League teams. And there's so many rounds in the Europa League that just becomes knackering.
Yeah.
And the Europa Conference League as well. It's just a bit more.
If you're Villa, if you're Aston Villa, do you think we're good enough to qualify for Europa League next season, or do you look at it and think it's an absolute shitstorm of competitive clubs? We've got Unai Emery. Do we go all out to win the Conference League? Because if West Ham can do it, then
why can't we? Yeah.
Why can't Villa?
Yeah.
I'd put money on it now for Villa to win the Conference League.
I mean, I probably will.
I think they're
one of the favourites.
They're one of the favourites, straight off the bat. Because, like I say, Ollie Watkins is a sensational striker for them.
Yeah.
I know you might report Yuri Tillman.
Fucking don't bring up
midfield. And they've got to say that Diaby from Bayer Leverkusen out there, and I think they still have. Is it Leroy Bailey as well?
Yeah, Bailey.
He's still. So
you've got a lot of good players.
They have, and I think they'll be. In contention for winning this year, just like say West Ham was this year, and they went and done it.
Yeah. The thing is, you can't complain about Yuri Tielemans because
yes, I can.
He did everything right. He
scored
you a winning goal in the FA final.
Oh, that's great. What I'm pissed off about.
He was committed to his contract.
I'm pissed off about.
You should be more angry with the club for not tying him down sooner.
I'm pissed off that. Is he was linked with fucking big fucking teams. Like I thought he was going to go somewhere big. And he goes to fucking someone I hate, Aston Villa.
His stock just went down through those 12 months like everyone else,
I really thought a deal was already done with a big club.
Yeah.
I thought it was already, but obviously wasn't. And to be honest, I think because he had such a shit season last year, everyone was like, no, we're not interested in him anymore. So that's why he probably went Villa. But then fucking Maddison going fucking Tottenham. Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm surprised Newcastle didn't come in for him.
They did.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't go there. But I think obviously London lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
The London lifestyle suits Maddison. He's got all his fucking agencies down there for his boo-hoo contracts.
I think Spurs setup will suit him a bit more than
it'd be perfect.
Newcastle.
Son running.
Some tweets are still funny though when he tweeted about fucking Tottenham in the past.
What did he say?
You not seen them?
No, I'm not seen
they're all against anti-Tottenham country. He did one about how Suarez rips Tottenham apart or something like that.
Oh yeah, there's always a tweet.
Yeah, stuff like that. They all got, when he signed, they all got dug out. Yeah. I was just laughing. I was like,
Grealish had them all about wanting United to beat City in games and stuff like that.
I'm telling you now, if Ollie was still in charge of United, Grealish would be a United player. He would be.
Well, the season where they wanted to get him, we just said it was too expensive and got Van der Beek. That summer.
Ollie had the wheels.
I really liked Donny Van der Beek. It just never worked out.
I felt good.
He was going to go to Real Madrid. So
I feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
He got bought in the wrong circumstances. We got him because he was available, and I think
we got him because he was cheap.
Was that Louis van Gaal who got him in?
That was Solskjaer.
It was Solskjaer that brought him in.
But he didn't want him. It was a club that brought him in.
Everyone raided that Ajax team.
Yeah.
After that storming Champions League,
do you know what? None of them have really been that good.
De Ligt went to Juventus. Now he's at Munich. I think he's probably one of the better ones that have actually done well for himself.
They've been late bloomers a little bit in comparison. Like Frankie de Jong does look amazing now.
You were.
But then Ziyech, and
a lot of them
he went that terrible move to Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then
he was one.
he almost went to PSG.
He was
didn't
I thought it was a smart sign at the time.
We was linked with him in January.
Then he was linked to Saudi. Then apparently he failed his medical.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's just bad luck for him.
Alright, wait.
I mean, scoring assist pretty much done, isn't it?
Let's see.
So I'm amazed if we differ on that.
We're talking about top four. Who are your top four?
Oh, fuck, man.
City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and United.
I'm going to say clutching at straws for reasons why City won't quite be at it. The fact that they're looking like they're going to extend the contracts now with Bernardo Silva and Kyle Walker is massive. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think Mahrez was going to be a huge miss, but Gundogan was. So I
They've
think if you
lost a lot
then
of depth,
lose
haven't they? They've lost
those
a lot of
as
depth.
well, they are finally having youngsters come through, like all that investment academy
Is
stuff.
it
Pay
Cole
off.
Palmer who
Yeah.
scored
Yeah,
a worldie the
Rico
other day,
Lewis,
didn't he,
yeah.
in the Community Shield?
We're linked with him.
But
Yeah.
We're trying to get Palmer, yeah.
Really?
I don't think we'll drop down.
No, I can't see it happening. But
this is Guardiola's challenge now: is keeping everyone motivated. And okay, it was incredible that they won everything last season, but they did also spend most of it chasing Arsenal as well. Like, I don't think that was actually the best City side there's ever been. Okay, they won everything, but in pure quality of tearing up the Premier League, I don't think it was the best side, that they've ever produced.
They executed at the right moments of the season, didn't they?
Yeah.
But they weren't consistently great.
They would just have that relentless thoroughbred thing about them where we've been there and we've done this and we know how to win. Like the points total was, sub 90, wasn't it, in the end? Compared to what they've done in the past. 89 is still really good.
it was poor. Yeah, it was a poor season for what they've done. It was poor for them.
But I just wonder if it could be another season where they end up thinking, okay, there is a bit of transition going on. I'm clutching at this because I want a reason to put Arsenal first. Like, my head says City and my heart says Arsenal. So I'm going to go with Arsenal on this occasion just because I think they've invested really well with Rice and Timber. I'm not I think they needed to provide competition for Gabriel Jesus rather than Havertz, who I'm just not convinced by.
That's a shit
He's
sign.
not an 8, he's not a 10, he's not a 9. What is this?
I don't know why they're not.
He's the German Dele Alli, that's what I
don't know why.
Honestly, tall, doesn't quite have...
I don't know why they're not bringing Balogun into the side more, because he looks decent. But yeah, another striker just to provide a bit of depth in that position, a proper striker, would have been good. So that's the only question mark. But otherwise, there could be enough goals.
Injured?
Yeah.
Yes, I think he's injured again already. Yeah.
Flipping heck.
He's been injured for ages.
Yeah.
So
you've
Gundogan's
got
going to be a huge loss for City.
Well, they've got Mateo Kovacic in there to sort of replace
But
that
it's not
role.
it's
but
goals, though.
he's not your Ilkay Gundogan.
City could be out. Well, I don't know. This is a bit unfair because there's still so much talent in their squad. But City are at that point now where United were towards the end of Ferguson, where it's like, with a central midfield of Cleverley and Anderson, we can still win the fucking league. They're at that point now. But it'll be close. But I've got a feeling Arsenal could do it. If they aren't bit in the arse by the fact that Jesus getting injured, they should have enough goals with Saka and Martinelli. I think Odegaard chips in a lot of goals as well.
I think
they
Trossard
could
might
do
be a
it.
big player for them this season.
Yeah,
I think he's better than Martinelli,
Trossard can fill in there, yeah.
So you're going Arsenal,
City, United, Liverpool.
What was yours again?
City, Arsenal, Liverpool. And United only just
getting
got
in.
top 4.
What's yours?
I think they might be
Liverpool.
Do you want my biased approach?
I want the honest approach, not the Liverpool approach.
I can see Man City doing it again. I see Arsenal falling to third. I think Arsenal proved last season when it comes to the tail end of the season, the real business part of the season, they failed. Yeah. They bowled and
they lost it by, what was it, 10 points?
Yeah, a large portion of that team will still be there this season. I know Saliba was out for a period of time, and he was missed as a centre back, but they still conceded a fair few goals when he was still in the team as well out of the team. So it's, do they have the balls to see it through over the line, or will they get scared like they did last season where they were? I mean, I can't remember who was it, where Jorginho scored a screamer and it hit the keeper back head. Aston Villa, I think, wasn't it? Hit the back of Martez's head.
Yeah.
And it was just some sheer luck that managed to get them 3 points and keep the title season going.
They kept pulling those out for ages.
Yeah.
Like, I think people expect them to struggle.
It was like that
much
Bournemouth game.
earlier than that.
They had all that time, added time on, and they scored the equaliser or the winning goal against Bournemouth. And yeah,
But I think they do have an amazing spirit there under Arteta, and I think again it's just because of how insanely good City are that they still managed to throw it away. I think Arsenal will build on it. I know that is the kind of deciding thing. Are they a bit broken by that, or do they build on it? I think I know it's only the Community Shield, but I think psychologically it meant so much more to them than to City to win that game and to sort of start on the right foot of yes, we can beat them.
See, I thought that Liverpool won it last year.
Yeah, I know winning the Shield doesn't necessarily mean anything. No, but in that specific context, they're playing.
I get what you mean. It sounds what you've been able to do over Manchester City, and you've won something. So that actually, in your mind, should be a big enough positive impact for you to go on and really hit the season running. But you've got that first win. I think it's most important because you watch most first games of the seasons. They are very cagey. They are very tense because you want to get off to a good start. You want to get the 3 points, which then hopefully then impact for the rest of the season of being positive. Arsenal did it, and look how they did for the first part of the season. They won, and then you can see, oh my God, we're going to do it. Yeah. And then they just talk to Adidas and get a whole kit with golden stripes.
I know, right? Yeah.
And then before you know it, that's like in mid-February, everything starts going to shit. You're like, bollocks. Joe, I'm going to go out on a whim. I'm going to say Liverpool first. Just because I can come back here and say, I'm going to say...
At the start of the transfer window, I was thinking, you know what? I think Liverpool are in it. They're sorting that midfield. Got McAllister in. The fellow whose name begins with S, Szoboszlai. And I was like, it's not going to stop there. They're going to get in a couple more, sort out that midfield. I think regardless, they're going to score a lot of goals. Last season, you still scored a lot of goals. It was just that link in midfield, and
most of them can shoot on it.
Is that a shot?
I'll have to do a shot off screen.
But now, even if they get Lavia in, I think no one was expecting to have to suddenly put him in as first choice number 6.
Yeah.
I think they'll still do really well. I still think they'll get top 4. Yeah. But I don't quite see them in the title race now.
I'm ever biased saying they are going to... I'll say they'll finish first. Just... I'm going to be... I don't see Man City ever finishing at the top 2 at the minute. Just purely because Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, Ruben Diaz, that whole spine down there where you mix in either, let's say Bruno Silva does stay, and then he's got Jack Grealish, Phil Foden. This is my tough one because my third spot, I'm either going to give it to Arsenal or Manchester United. It's which one do I think is going to fuck up less? I'm going to say Arsenal, and I'm going to put Newcastle 4th. I think Newcastle, and I put Man United 5th.
This is just pure hatred.
No, it's not.
This is just hatred.
I'm looking at Newcastle, and I know they've got European football this year, but I am watched their signings from last year. Isak, you got Guimaraes coming in. Almiron had a season like nobody ever thought.
They got Barnes offers.
Yeah. You've now got Sandro Tonelli as another midfielder into there. I don't know if they bring anybody else in. For argument's sake, they say they get knocked out of Champions League in the group stage, and then they go down to Europa and nothing happens. They get knocked out again, and all they've got to fight for is domestic. Yeah. Now United are going to be fighting on multiple fronts again this year. They're sure going to be there in Champions League this year, and you're going to want you do prioritise the cups, the FA Cups and the Elite Cups. So we're fighting them fronts as well, and you're bringing in like your Mason Mount, and you just got a new young striker in now. Whether that's going to be your first choice striker every single week, or I don't know who else you're going to put there up top. Whether you're going to be Rashford over or not.
Martial with his black gloves and he's coming back.
Anthony Martial.
The black gloves, the fresh trim.
It's looking like it's going to be a lot of Rashford down the middle or Sancho as a false 9.
I don't like the look of Rashford as a striker.
I'd rather have him on the left, but the bonus of having him down the centre is you can bring Garnacho in, who I just think is going to be just like one of the best players over the next 10 years. He looks incredible, I think.
I'm never sold on Anthony. I think Anthony.
I'm not a big fan of
Anthony probably should have stayed at Ajax.
Not a big fan of Anthony.
We kept saying the podcast that he just like a lot of twist and turning.
I don't see.
He's the intentional Beyblade.
Yeah.
I don't see much of impactful play. And then if you look at your midfield, let's say now you have Casemiro, you have Bruno Fernandes, and you've got Mason Mount. And if McTominay does go, and if Fred does go, and then so who else is going to be slotting into this midfield three? You got Eriksen that can now fit in. He's still at United, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of change again for United. Back four's roughly staying the same, really, isn't it? I'm assuming you're having a pairing of Martin
and Martin.
Yeah. And then it's Onana.
Yeah.
Which would make such a change to how we can play.
This is not your David De Gea, which that back four had been used to. I'll put this out there as a hot take of he will have a terrible first season. He will have what like David De Gea happened when he moved from Atletico Madrid to Man United. He had a stinker of first season or two. It took him for ages to get used to the league. And watching him get lobbed from the halfway line the other day. I know this,
that was Dallow's fault.
I know it's pre-season. I know it's pre-season, and a lot you can't. You take pre-season games with a pinch of salt because they are pre-season. They get one game time in. And I watched some of the play, and he's so far off his line. Like, what are you even doing there? But I think the first season of him being in the Premier League is going to be a real eye opener to high intensity football, where in Italy it's not like that. He's going to be bombarded constantly by all the other 19 teams.
He handled it pretty well in the Champions League final.
Yeah, no, he was comfortable.
He was probably one of the best players.
He was comfortable in that Milan squad.
Yeah.
He's been there for a number of years. I know he was second to Handanovic for a while, and he's got the number one spot. And he's used to that team, and he's used to being able to deliver for Milan, or Inter Milan, actually. United's a different beast. You know, like
it'll be huge pressure, and I'm sure there's going to be some high-profile mistakes, but I think we take it as part of the deal.
And I think that's what it is. He's going to have to get used to being begrudgingly saying one of the biggest clubs in the world, and used to what that, because I'm used to what that's going to mean to him now. Because the set United fans have obviously got high expectations of every single player that puts that jersey on.
He is full of self-confidence. Like I think compared to when De Gea came in, who suddenly turned into a bit of a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, and that's.
I think Onana will be a little bit more set up for.
And I think that confidence will exude onto the team. I don't think he's gonna have a terrible season, but I do think we will concede some terrible goals.
I think that
just because of how
that's what I worry about his confidence, where he becomes too overconfident and feels like he's trying to do too much more than what he should do, which is just the basics. Yeah. Because you put that United jersey on, and you are expected to do great things in it. And I think he's going to maybe overdo it sometimes to say, I am worth the money. Yeah. I am worth being the number one. And then De Gea did that numerous times, and he ended up having the most...
He got bullied in his first
season, the most stupid of mistakes.
And Ferguson even dropped him. He was the backup goalkeeper that time.
Lindegaard, I think.
That was it. Yeah. He came in at some point for him.
He would drop the ball going underneath his legs, or it would just like sort of slide off into his hand, and it happened so many times with De Gea. And I think Onana's going to have quite a baptism of fire in the Premier League for his first season, and
there will be a hell of a lot of scrutiny. But I think also, if you look at the net effect on the team, the amount of errors De Gea was making,
even for this last season, though, was
I think Onana, even if he does make some errors, his contribution to the way the overall team plays will massively outweigh that. There'll be all knives out for him anytime he makes a mistake. He'll be played all over him. There'll be some point where someone nabs the ball off him, or he's caught off his line or something. But
it's already started. Even in United Legends, who was it the other day? Andy Cole came out and said that De Gea is a better goalkeeper than Onana. So they're ready. They're waiting for him to just make a mistake. Even in United Legends, they're waiting for him to make a mistake. But again, like you said, I think his impact will far outweigh the negatives.
I think it's a change that United have been crying out for, because I think it just became untenable at the end of the season gone. I think it shows how much Ten Hag is getting out of that squad, and square pegs and round holes. Like, we still haven't properly addressed the striker position for like immediate effect, but the fact we're playing with Weghorst, the fact Eriksen was playing in central midfield, the fact you've got Anthony's getting used to the Premier League in his first season. You know, De Gea can't play the kind of football out the back that Ten Hag would like to play. All these kind of things to still get third, and after the season that we'd had the season before, I think that's why I put a lot of trust in anything that contributes to how Ten Hag wants to play. Kind of assuages my kind of fears about, oh God, it's going to be so hard to get top 4 again. Like, I think we were able to grind out results so well. I really think we can do that again this season. I think Onana could be a big part of that.
Yeah, I think top 4, same as you.
I'm just throwing a wild one out there. I thought everyone's going to be very... I thought, I'm just going to throw some wild out there, and then, we'll look in 38 weeks' time and find out.
No, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool and United just getting in there. And you're just going crazy.
I think that's probably more the realistic.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to throw my wild out there.
You just got Liverpool fan out there.
Yeah, I'm just going to go nuts and say we're going to win everything.
So, we're done top 4, done relegation. First manager to be sacked. I said Dijk.
Everton are not really a sacking club though.
They're not, but I don't know. As like you said, they already seem to be having...
I feel like the fans will be... he won't get pressure from the fans because the fans will just be like, what is he supposed to do? And I think he'll be the kind of manager that's like, well, he's the kind of guy you would want to just sort of stick with to scrape you through the season. If they're not making any decent signings, I think...
Lopetegui, if he doesn't leave...
Does it count? Is it like -1 if he goes now before the season started? I would have had him down because
I think the season's got to start then.
They had to really convince him to stay.
As soon as it's the first minute on Friday night against Burnley, Man City, and then he gets sacked then his first manager gone.
That counts, and that's an unbeatable record.
I just don't think they've got no reliable striker, not enough goals. They're losing players.
Who's the Bournemouth manager?
He's a new manager, isn't he? They sacked the old guy who actually kept him up.
Sacked him back.
Which was strange because they actually started playing good football and he kept him up. But this new manager's it's quite exciting apparently. Plays good football, I think.
What makes Bournemouth exciting?
I can't remember what his name is, but I'm sure he's quite an exciting manager.
They're actually trying to make moves in the transfer market as well. See how it sort of works out, but if things
Areola, the manager of Bournemouth.
Oh, okay. I think if it is a bit of a shit show start for Fulham, then I could see Marco Silva just falling out and just being like, Mitrovic is gone, not been takes well enough, I'll go.
Who did you go with?
Lopetegui.
Then?
I'm pretty good on the assumption that Lopetegui is going to be going, I think, before the start of the season. Maybe the Sheffield United manager. Potentially David Moyes at West Ham.
Straight after a trophy.
Yeah, I think if he's not going to get what he wants from the transfer window,
the fact that they have 100 million sitting there and they're still not spending it, it tells you all you need to know. They don't trust him with that money.
How much longer will he want to stay at a club where he's just going to be constantly at loggerheads with people above him?
West Ham always talk about the West Ham way, exciting football. He doesn't play that way of football. So if they struggle, fans are going to be straight onto him.
I mean, people like even at Brentford, I forget the manager and the name.
Thomas Frank.
Yeah, but he's such a fan favourite. He's one of the things you don't see leaving, or even the Brighton manager.
I think they'll be alright. Yeah.
The only one that you could say is Brighton is Mauricio Pochettino.
Chelsea.
If in them first 6 months or first half of the season, you say put it before Christmas.
No, the first 2 games in Chelsea,
and they're not up there because, like I say, none of us mentioned Chelsea in the top 4.
Yeah.
Even though there's
too much.
I'm really intrigued to see what Chelsea do.
Spent some money, and none of us have said Chelsea in the top 4.
I think there's too much work there. There's too much to what we do before they even think about getting top 4.
They're light up front, but I think they are doing kind of an interesting job of rebuilding the squad.
I might change my top 4 and put Chelsea first.
Defensive.
This thing is a wild thing because Chelsea have been.
They've not got any European football.
Yeah, they've been quiet for so many years.
I still think they're weak in the goalkeeping area though. Kepa,
Azabalaga,
Sanchez.
Why didn't they just get in David Raya as their number 1?
Yeah,
I don't know why they didn't do that.
Or Diego Costa from
That as well, yeah.
He's played for Benfica.
Porto, yeah.
Yeah, one of the Portuguese teams.
Because I thought we were going to go for him, but then went for Onana, which
Yeah.
was fine.
But Chelsea could be one of them things where they have a natural ability to set their managers when things don't go. But is Todd, I can't remember his surname.
Todd Bowley, yeah.
Is he the same as what Roman Abramovich?
They've got to stick
was?
by a project now, because at this point, if you brought in Potter, and it was the idea of you're going to have this 6-7 year plan under Potter, and then things went so catastrophically bad that you couldn't even say, oh, it's a transition season. We'll have to, accept that you get
surely Poch has got a thing saying, look, you've got to give me a season and a half or something like that.
Yeah,
surely he's got to have that in his contract.
Because that's the thing. If you've done that with Potter, and then you sack Pochettino after 6 months or something, and all of a sudden, people aren't poking fingers at the managers. They're looking at the owners and saying, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah,
so they've got to stick by him now.
They've got to give Poch a good year and a half.
Yeah,
because they sack Poch halfway through the season, then genuinely, who's left for them?
They become a mid-table club. They literally become a mid-table club.
I think they're a good bet for Europa League. I think Pochettino's an excellent manager. I think they do have problems. They're going to have problems scoring goals, even if they bring in Vlahovic. I think they might have a few issues now that Nkunku's out for so long as well. But
I've never been so excited to see somebody come over from Bundesliga.
He's very nice.
We've been waiting a year for this. The deal got struck. Got struck last summer. You're thinking, okay, yeah, he's going to ride. I'm actually excited to see him play. And everyone who enjoys FIFA knows how good his FIFA cards can be. So now you know that guy's going to get a minimum of 6 FIFA Ultimate Team cards in Chelsea in the Premier League. That's wicked.
I do think defensively they look a lot better though.
Yeah, they've really built out that.
Because Reece James is going to be out for God knows how long, but they've got a decent replacement in that Malo Gusto. Right back.
Yeah, he looks good. They've got Disasi, you've still got Badiashile in there.
Cobwell, Thiago Silva. And Cucurella and Chilwell, not great, but two decent left backs.
Have they got the young lad Martson or something?
Ian Matson.
Yeah. I reckon they might,
He played for Burnley last season, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he was very good.
I think it's going to be a solid rebuilding season under Pochettino. I think they're a good bet for Europa League. I don't think they'll trouble the top 4, but I think they'll be in a really strong position by the end of it for next year.
Yeah. Who are we going? Top goal scorer? Terminator?
Ivan Toney.
He could have a mad comeback.
Tony put a bet on it. It's alright.
He's literally Ladbrokes, right?
He's going to have, when he comes back, he's just going to score loads.
Catch me now.
People haven't saying to Ivan, people don't mean it literally when they say bet on yourself to score. It's obviously Haaland. It can't be anything else.
I don't think he scores more than 30 though.
No,
not in the league.
I think he's going to score. I think he's a top goal scorer. He's going to score loads, but I don't think he's going to do what he did last season.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to.
in a way, he kind of fell off second half of the season because he scored like double-figure goals in a few games. He got
marked out games like Billy when people realised what he could easily do in the Premier League. And then first 10 games, he was strolling through defences for fun, scoring hat-tricks like Sunday League. And I think people caught on, and they marked him out of the game. I think it's where I think they eventually Pep changed the formation, and you saw Foden get out more. And Grealish was in. Grealish managed to find Haaland more than other people. De Bruyne found him that constant whip across the back post.
Well, Haaland was very similar to Vardy. Vardy scored a lot of goals, and then they figured out you got to mark him and that they stop scoring.
He plays off the shoulder.
It's about the service. I mean, it's interesting what Guardiola was saying when someone was saying, "Oh, Haaland could he be one day in the same bracket as Messi and that kind of thing?" And obviously, it's like no one really quite thinks that. But it was interesting what Guardiola said that. Okay, Haaland is exceptional, but also he still requires the service of the team around him, whereas Messi could do everything by himself.
Yeah.
So Haaland, so often the service was choked off, and it couldn't be seen at all. It's like in the last season's Community Shield, he didn't do a lot.
No, he missed from like 6 yards out.
He
goes to the top goal scorer of the league. Then it was like Nunes scored the winner. It's like, he's the best striker.
He set insane expectations. Like I still think he'll be high 20s in the Premier League minimum, but
I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's going to get 40
Premier League
goals.
More goals.
I think we've got 36.
It's 36.
This year. I think he'll get 40. I remember that conversation in the Champions League final that he had with Thierry Henry. He said, "What can I do to become?" He said, "Learn to use your right foot."
Yeah.
And if this season he starts implementing something like that, where he starts to see that right foot, I don't think
He's going to get better.
Aerially, like with his head, he probably needs to get better. For such a big guy, he doesn't score enough.
The dangerous thing is, if he starts getting good in these areas, you are talking.
Yeah.
And I think he'll push on. He doesn't seem like to me somebody who's ever going to stop.
No.
And he's had a very freakish first season in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I think nobody expected somebody hit the ground running as quick as he did.
I don't know. I did.
Only injuries could stop him.
Yeah,
he's a machine.
Yeah, he's like
I don't even think injuries will stop him.
I think by the time he finishes, even if he doesn't go on to score as many goals as like Ronaldo and Messi, it's just the conversion rate. I don't think we'll ever see a striker like that. Like the conversion rate is just incredible.
I think 40 for him this season, maybe plus 42, and then you got add-on cup competitions for him. But I'm not going to go down that route. But he's just somebody that I think though he's seen what he can do in his first season, and he's just always like that type of player who's going to strive to want to do more, to do better, to be the best, and by doing that, it's like, to quote Alan Shearer, my job is to score goals.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's just built to do.
He's just a machine, man.
That's it. He's
a machine.
Literally, someone's going to have to do what Marcelo did to that player in Brazil. And make his leg face.
That's the worst tackle I've ever seen.
Face the other way. That's the only way you feel like you're going to stop Haaland at this rate. And even then, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to
where's
to play.
Where's Roy Keane?
He's like, I can use my right foot now.
Where's Roy Keane?
Just whacks it back in and knocks it on the right.
It's got McTominay taking after Roy Keane. Going to take him.
So we're all saying Haaland then, yeah.
I think Haaland,
comfortably, I think.
Yeah. I think some people will be probably nowhere near what he's going to produce. I'm praying that Nunes is somewhere up there, but nowhere near the numbers I think Haaland's going to produce.
That's it. Kane was close.
Yeah, and if he goes to Bayern.
I mean,
who else in the Premier League?
If you take away Kane last season, what was the gap? If you take away, what was?
Well, Tony was right there, wasn't he?
Tony was very close for a
Wasn't
long
Tony
time
like 19?
before he got banned.
18,
Yeah.
19.
I wonder what the gap is. If you take Kane away, what is the gap?
You take Kane away, man, then we're talking like a 15-goal gap.
That's nuts. That's absolute nuts.
Because I don't think anybody else is going to get more than 20
Okay,
outside of Kane and Haaland.
so Haaland obviously was top with 36. Harry Kane was second with 30. Now, if you take Harry Kane out of the mix, the next person closest to him was Ivan Toney with 20. So that's 16 goal difference.
16 goal. That's ridiculous.
And then it's Mohamed Salah with 19, Callum Wilson with 18, Marcus Rashford with 17, Gabriel Martinelli, which is a respectable 15 to be fair, coming off the left wing, and then Martin Odegaard with 15. So even that's a 21 difference between Martin Odegaard and Erling Haaland.
He's just scary.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
That is
and I don't
nuts.
see anyone getting more than 20 this
19
season,
between
other
that
than
and Marcus
Kane
Rashford. Then 16 between him and Ivan Toney, who was in third place with 20 goals. And then Mohamed Salah was there at fourth with 19. So that's 17 goals more.
And Salah used to walk the golden.
The batting between him and Harry Kane about who for X amount of seasons who would come out as. But Haaland, say, comes in with that first season and stuns. I think that he's going to be. The only way to stop him is you sell him to Barcelona or Real Madrid. First, like Barcelona, because you think like Mbappe to Real Madrid or that. Even think like Chelsea people come in for Mbappe or something to take him on a year loan. Imagine that.
Gosh.
That fiasco.
What the fuck's going to happen with Mbappe?
Where do you think he's going to go, Mbappe?
I think he's going to stay at PSG.
Yeah.
Do fuck all for a year.
Yep.
And then maybe go Madrid.
I think that's set in stone for him.
I think
he still plays at PSG.
No, PSG
no, I don't think he will. I think he'll be in the back. I think he'll literally just sit back.
He's going to be relegated to that academy team or something to do by himself. Like Neymar's now said he wants to go, so Neymar's got a 50 million to 80 million price tag on him, depending what PSG see who comes in for him.
Yeah.
So he's going to go. You've just lost Messi now to the MLS. So your front three have all just now decided to jump ship. So Mbappe, he is sadly they're
fucked up there with that contract. They're massively fucked up.
They're suddenly regretting wanting to give all that player power.
Yeah.
I generally think he's done it to himself as well. He's almost priced himself out of any potential.
He should have gone last summer.
He regrets not going to Real Madrid. As simple as that.
Sounded like a stupid deal where that he had like so much control about what was happening at PSG.
Why would he even want that as well? Like,
and then now
he's not in a position to be making transfers.
Priced himself out.
Becomes the mayor of Paris and all that shit.
It's like which respectable club now in any league, and you say maybe top 5 or something, and you might get bundled Saudi Arabia with money, will want to touch him just to have him for a year. I mean, you have some great brand exposure. You probably get some really good shirt sales out of it. Yeah. But you're only going to have him for a year because everyone knows where he wants to go. He wants to go Madrid, and Madrid want Mbappe. Yeah.
It's whether, and they'd probably be lying, but it's whether you can have a conversation with him that says, if we loan you for a year, have we got a shot at you at the end of your contract or not? They might say yes just to get him somewhere. But it's hard to see him going anywhere other than Real Madrid. But I think PSG are doing everything they can to get the sale. But I think when transfer window closes and he's still there, there'll be a bit of PR. They'll back down, but they'll present it as we've had talks with the player. We both want the best for PSG for this season. And it'll be reintegrated in the squad. He will play. Yeah, I don't think they'll let him sit there.
He's too big to sit on that bench.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But also, fuck them. Fuck PSG,
I'm
loving it.
To be fair,
everyone who isn't a PSG fan is literally laughing at the situation.
Yeah,
because he needs that move though. Because look at Haaland.
Yeah,
that's his rival. That's the new Ronaldo, Messi. He can't be staying at PSG and going out in around the 16 quarterfinals of the Champions League.
I just want to see it.
I'd love to see Mbappe in the Premier League, but I don't think you're going to see it.
I don't. I mean, this might just be me. I don't see the allure of La Liga anymore. I don't see the appeal of Real Madrid.
They've spent so little money.
On Barcelona anymore. I don't see it anymore.
I don't see it with Barcelona, but Real Madrid. I mean, look, they've got Bellingham.
I know
they've got so many good young players coming through.
Camavinga,
Tchouaméni.
The allure of those two teams is still
Junior and Rodrigo.
They're still possibly the two most alluring teams in the world still, and probably always have been for a long time. But the allure of the league as a whole, the quality level has gone down because they just can't compete. No one can compete financially with the Premier League.
I think I'm being biased of being the Premier League, being English, but I think if the most competitive football and I think one of the league to test you as a player is the Premier League. I know it's highly physical, not stupidly technical like Spain or Italy, but I always think, because you see the likes of what Manchester City are doing, you've seen how Liverpool have in the last few years, you've seen the pulling power of United, Arsenal trying to get their way back into it, and you've seen how the pulling power of Chelsea can be over the years. They've won a Champions League a couple of years ago against Man City. I thought that to me would be more alluring than going to Real Madrid because that's so competitive and it's watched all over the world in so many different countries. And say the money that's in the Premier League compared to La Liga or Bundesliga or Serie A is so much greater that the exposure
football heritage.
To me, I think, like, for me personally, I feel like it's eclipsing the Real Madrid, the Barcelonas now, because you haven't seen Barcelona in Champions League final for very many years. Yeah. Madrid is the only Spanish team that's been able to get into Champions League finals. Other than that, you've seen Chelsea, you've seen Man City, you've seen Liverpool in repeated Champions League finals.
I guess Sevilla have kept winning the Europa League.
Honestly, when they're in that competition, you might as well just hand it to them. You had a good run, well done, congratulations. I don't see the allure anymore. Before in the past, I did see that. We used to watch R9, the original Ronaldo at Real Madrid, and your Beckhams and your Gutis and Luis Figos, and then you saw the era of Barcelona from 2005 to like 2010 of Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Sergio Busquets and David Villa, Puyol and Piqué. Yeah. And that was like, this is the best team you're ever going to see, because that era there with Messi was there as well. They're like, when they beat Manchester United Champions League final
twice.
Or it's
destroyed.
But
absolutely destroyed.
You watch them and that was like, it was mesmerising football, and it's just not there anymore. And
I just think that with Real Madrid, at the moment, they're building another team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the midfield,
Really
it starts from the midfield, and I think Mbappe is like, he's that final piece. And then they'll go, I think, get Mbappe in either this summer or next summer, and that's the squad then for the next 10 years. That's their hope.
Mbappe wants to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
And you look at Real Madrid and think, you know,
that's his best
If-
chance.
if we're assuming there's no spot
best chance
at
to
City
win.
for him, then yeah.
And they say that the player in the team that maybe can afford to buy him, which I do get. I think they almost feel like they rely on it's like we said, football heritage. It's like we watch F1, and you think, well, which team would I strive for? The most iconic is Ferrari Red. And now we think about Champions League. Well, it's your white Real Madrid, and they've won it 13 times or something. And you do. They're all. I think they've been put in that pinnacle bracket for such a long time, but I think people have not realised the fall from grace of Real Madrid a little bit. And Barcelona, they were that pinnacle thing that you aspire. That's where you aspire to go to. That's where you would Eden Hazard at Chelsea. You know, I think he won the Champions League with them, but did he? No.
He did, but he wasn't part of the team.
And then he went to Real Madrid.
He won it with Madrid. He won the Europa League with Chelsea in his final season. Then went to Madrid and just wasn't.
I think the allure of Barcelona and Real Madrid is still there, and the status. Barcelona it's more their financial position that kind of shows the issue that the league is in. Their obviously finances have been managed horrifically there, but they also won La Liga last season. Real Madrid nearly got to the Champions League final, having dominated that trophy for the last few years. I think in terms of being heavyweights in Europe, those two are still. Barcelona maybe a little bit less, but they are coming back, still right up there. It's just going down the league. I mean, Atletico is still there or thereabouts. Sevilla have dropped off, but they were still winning trophies. It's just they used to be alongside the Premier League as the two strongest leagues. Obviously, you go further back, Serie A as well. It's just the difference in leagues. I think as those two clubs, I still think they're still the big swing index as well. but La Liga is their gap's only getting bigger.
Yeah.
When you look at the money that's been spent so far, the vast majority of what the Liga has spent this transfer window is on Bellingham. The rest of it, I think they're even being outspent by League One now. It's insane. The money that's in UK football, the Championship spends as much money as the Portuguese league. It's shit. It's great for us and our clubs, buying players and stuff. But I also kind of think that when Newcastle can walk in and sign Tonali, or when lower Premier League teams are just walking and buying players from big Serie A clubs and that kind of thing, I just think. At what point does this stop? Because we know that if we were in their position, we'd be saying football is broken.
But with the Premier League, for as much money as it has, I still think the Premier League gets beaten to the best talent, that biggest name.
Yeah, I think that might be the tipping point though with Haaland coming. That's the first time we've had one of the best.
That's where I'm at. My thing
we lose.
Most of them want to
We
go.
produce good players and then lose them.
Yeah, they want to
and
go
attract
to Real
very
Madrid
good
and
managers.
Barcelona's, and my own things of I think the likes of your Man Cities, your Liverpools, your Manchester Uniteds, reluctantly throw Chelsea into there more than Arsenal, but them big names seem to then not really take them top 4 Premier League teams into consideration, and I'm thinking, why? Why wouldn't you? I say Erling Haaland was that biggest name to come to the Premier League for a long time. And look what he's done, and it's you can make it in the league. I think a lot of people get frightened that if you don't make it in the Premier League, you're done. I mean, he did Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I know it was towards the end of his time, but he came over here, and I'd love to see more big name talents take stab.
We get big name managers, but not the talent. Not in their primes anyway.
Yeah,
we usually lose them in their primes. Hazard, Ronaldo.
I think it's happening. You just need to have these teams be well managed enough. The finance, I don't think it clearly isn't the issue. It's United could still, if they'd been effectively run for the last 10 years, they'd be in the mix for going in for someone like Mbappe now. I think.
Well,
it's just part of that Chelsea as well. Really weirdly run. And yet we're able to spend 100 million on Fernandes.
That's what gets me as well with Chelsea. Yeah,
their pool's insane. No European football, and Caicedo wants to go straight in there, and
Well, the way they're able to sell players as well, it's just, gosh.
Oh, yeah.
I wish United were that competent. Can't even get 30 million from McTominay. Oh.
Glazers in.
I don't think that they're going to sell the club.
No. Go on, what's the next one then?
Last thing is, who do you think is going to win the Champions League?
Oh, don't make me think about that. I don't want to think
way
about
City. Liverpool.
It's difficult, because I don't think City will be as good. I think the loss of Gundogan, big loss.
If I always put it down, it's an easy cop out putting it down to transfers, but I think if Bayern get Kane, they're in there.
I was thinking
if Bayern get Kane,
if Real Madrid get Mbappe, they're in there. If they
So I asked
decide
this
to do a deal at the end
question
of the window.
once the transfer window's done.
Yeah, we still know what's going to happen.
So I asked this question in 3 weeks' time when we know the transfer window's closed and we know who's in what club.
I would say if Bayern get Harry Kane, I think they're within the shout because they had who up front. It was
they didn't really have a striker, did they?
No, that's
they had Choupo-Moting.
Yeah, I say you had him
and Mane actually. Mane was a striker for them.
And now I know Mane's gone now. I think if they get an actual in-and-out striker after Lewandowski's gone, I think they're within a shout of winning the Champions League again. I don't see PSG getting anywhere near anymore.
No.
Real Madrid are probably going to be depending. I don't know their front three. They did sign Joselu, but obviously, you put them up there to win it.
Right now, I'm going to say Man City actually. Just because they're I think they're actually much better than anyone else.
I think the
United don't stand a chance. Arsenal don't stand a chance.
No.
I don't see the Italian clubs doing what they do.
I'd have to go between the three teams that have been mentioned: Man City, Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich if they get Kane, and Real Madrid. I think it's between them three.
Yeah, I don't see we'll see another English final again like we had.
I don't think Man City is, with the squad they have right now, they've lost a lot of depth. I don't think they're going to be as good as they have been this last season. But they're better than everybody else, I think.
I think as a dark horse, you could say, because they've only lost one of their big players after winning the league, is Napoli. They got to the semis last season. The fact they've still got Osimhen.
Oh no!
And 77, what's his name?
Yeah,
I think that's been a massive thing for them to keep. I know Saudi Arabia came in. They were like, I can't remember which club it was. Toppled a stupid, it was 150 million for him. And that fact that he's still there. And I think you're right. Actually, I forgot about Napoli. To be honest, and Napoli could be a dark horse for the Champions League because actually, I think being completely honest, I thought they were the ones that were to get to the Champions League final to play Man City. Yeah. I thought they would have done over Milan, but Milan just pulled something completely out. Oliver Giroud, mind you, pulled something completely out of the bag and managed to get a result against them, and then end up just falling short in the semis.
Osimhen got injured though, didn't he? And then he just
did he miss one of the? I can't remember.
He just wasn't 100%. In that match.
But they were the team I actually thought would have gone and Champions League final with, and actually probably thought they probably would have gave. Well, I say it would have given Man City a better run, but Inter did pretty well to be fair for the majority of that game.
So it's a mix. We don't know.
But it's three. Maybe get like the first couple of groups games done in the Champions League, and
the question will definitely get asked again.
Yeah.
Ask after the transfer window closes.
Oh well. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say if that Kane one has.
I was
not driving home. I'm getting home and find out about like 2 hours ago when we were doing the chat and Harry Kane's move to buy it. It's been settled 110 million euros.
Just before my battery dies.
Yes.
The three who comes up from the Championship. Who are going? I'm not jinxing. I'm not saying.
Let me have a little.
I'm not saying fuck all.
Middlesbrough.
I can see Middlesbrough
and Leicester.
I think Southampton, especially if they keep Ward-Prowse. I don't see why you can't do it in the Championship. Still got Kyle Walker-Peters. Got a good, exciting left winger, that Edozie from Man City.
I don't think Leeds will do it.
No, I think
Leeds will finish mid-table.
I don't think Coventry will do it.
Leeds are going to get trapped in the.
I think Coventry will make playoffs again.
Yeah.
Is Michael Carrick still in charge of Middlesbrough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chew back from smashing in goals.
Yeah, they might have a chance.
And Watford are up there. They must have a good start to the
The
season.
thing is with Watford, they have a good start and then they tend to drop off.
It's lost.
No, it's like
But
QPR,
Watford have
Rotherham,
lost
Huddersfield,
Ismail Assar
Borough.
and Jalpeno.
Oh, Sunderland. Sunderland, yeah.
Get on back in the Prem.
Yeah, Sunderland,
Ah,
Middlesbrough, Leicester.
Sunderland to
No
take
more
down
Ahmad.
Newcastle.
No more
Yeah.
Ahmad. Back at United.
He's going to stay now because he's injured, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably say Leicester, Southampton, and then probably say Middlesbrough.
Yeah, that's my three.
Not much, yeah. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
I
there's
think
subjects in it,
Middlesbrough will be. It's Which one gets playoff position? I don't know. I think
Top two automatic.
You'll
Top two automatically.
Yeah.
Friday's playoff is the playoff winner.
Leicester.
I think Sunderland playoff, and then I think Middlesbrough win the league.
I think Leicester, Middlesbrough, and then I can see Southampton being in the playoff against like Sunderland. Coventry. I think Coventry will probably be back in.
I
there
think
again.
Coventry will definitely make playoffs again. I think they will.
Who's the other United coach?
Oh, Kieran McKenna at Ipswich.
They're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah. Everyone wanted to turf those guys out with Solskjaer, and they're actually really good fucking coaches.
Yeah, they're
Young
not bad.
Got first round of
watch
ball
out
at
for
weekend.
Ipswich.
Do mid-season review.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've got to get all
do.
these recorded so we can review this.
Oh, we do.
Name and shame.
The thing is, we started the podcast.
When I walk out of here, when Liverpool with the Premier League gold badges on there, and I'm like,
We started this podcast mid-season last year, so
Newcastle's fourth.
we haven't got to do it at the beginning, but yeah.
I'm like, what a wild prediction, eh?
What's fair? I said mid-season last year, Newcastle will finish second. I wasn't too far off.
No,
Wasn't too far off.
They were showing it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's been a great episode to be involved in. Don't know what it's like to listen to.
might be the longest ever, right?
We went off on a few tangents.
Yeah, we did.
It'll come together nicely.
But no, yeah, we've got a bit of editing to do. Definitely with that Saudi Arabia mix before we started the episode. I'm going to throw that in there somewhere. But yeah. Well, no, it's been a good one. Cheers for watching. Cheers for listening. See you next time.
Oh, one last thing. Mum, I made it. I'm on the internet.
See ya. So before the main episode started, I was having a bit of a discussion of 9 strikers that potentially would get in front of Olivier Giroud. So talking about this, and then they went on to a bit of Saudi Arabia talk. So this next part is it's like a bonus added on in like 11-12 minutes. So there's been some quality one-liners. The bus one's still the best one. The bus driver.
Oh, bus driver.
It's still the fucking...
Oliver
It's true, man.
Yeah.
Very good player, but you're not gonna. He's not a difference maker. That's all I will say. I don't think.
He's an excellent player, but I don't quite get categorising him as some kind of all-timer.
Yeah.
That was it. Was about
'Cause what was the odds
top
of it?
10 best strikers or something, wasn't it? And then one of them said yes to Oliver Giroud, and then it must have been you who said no. So then my mind was like, well, name 9 better than Oliver Giroud.
Look what look what he's done.
Because then in my you could straight.
He's had a great
Haaland,
career.
yeah. Benzema, yeah.
Ronaldo.
If you put him as a striker, I guess,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
If you class him how he is now,
I don't class Ronaldo as a striker.
No, to me
Left winger.
he's a left winger
Yeah.
in and out any day of the week. And then it's like whoever Harry Kane you probably put there. So that's 3 to 4.
Who's already on your list?
What time period
Haaland.
is this covering?
Well,
Just
let's
the current
say
players.
like now because he's still playing now, isn't he?
Last
So
20 years?
No, do
No.
currently. Like say like
Yeah.
currently right now, the players that are playing right now that are not retired or 20 years ago or dead.
So Ronaldo's off the list.
Are you just doing Premier League or
Let's say top 5 leagues.
top 5 leagues?
So Europe league,
Oh, God.
so England, Germany, France, Spain, and it's probably Spain, England, France, Germany, and Italy.
So does Benzema not count then?
Yeah, because of Saudi.
I guess. Well, now no.
You could throw it back to last season.
Or even if last season, but if you'd say, okay, let's put it into a top 10 or top 9 strikers that you would put ahead of Benzema that are still currently playing right now. Doesn't matter which league they're in.
Ahead of Giroud.
Ahead of
Right now,
Giroud.
I probably won't be able to do it right now.
That's what I'm saying. When I heard that, I was like, well, no, even I can't name.
Is this ahead of Giroud at his peak or Giroud right now?
Let's just say Giroud generally anyway over a period of time. Let's say a period of like 10 years, even from Montpellier to Arsenal,
Right, okay.
to Chelsea to Milan. And then in that time period, some of that you think 9 better strikers, and I couldn't think of 9 top tier strikers in that space of 10 years.
I have to write these down now. No one was expecting this.
No, I'm not doing anything. But
No.
It's something got in my head. I was like, well, no, even I can't name 9. I think straight off the bat, I'm trying to wrap round through teams that have like had quality strikers over even like the last 5 years.
So Haaland, Lewandowski, Kane, Benzema. Are we counting Mbappe as we look at just number 9 strikers?
Number 9.
I'd say Mbappe fits that model.
Okay, but not Neymar.
No.
Okay.
That's 5. Osman.
Yeah, Osimhen. Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
at 6. I toyed with Lautaro Martinez.
Have you got Lukaku on your list?
Oh,
I mean,
if you were going to put Lukaku ahead of Oliver Giroud, I'm sorry.
Come on. No.
Breeze blocked foot over there. No. He plays.
I don't think that's completely unreasonable. I think they're in the same
Giroud's had a
He
far
would-
better
he
career,
wouldn't
but
make
he's not
top-
a better player.
He
than
wouldn't make
Lukaku.
top 10.
Did you see that Champions League final?
Lukaku wouldn't make top 10.
I mean, Lukaku is cursed, but he's still a quality
He
player.
could have headed that ball anywhere. He could have headed it anywhere, but he headed it in the one spot. He knows he's going to get saved twice. And you're like, I don't think he's going to do it.
I can't have Giroud over Lukaku. I can't.
I can, because I think he is a better striker than Romelu Lukaku. For the size of what Oliver Giroud is, he's a tall bloke. He uses his height, and he's very agile for a guy of his size. And look at Scorpion kick he scored for Arsenal.
But then look at Lukaku, 6'3".
He's just
looks
a
like
rhino.
a bodybuilder, but he moves like he's 5'7".
He looks like he's rolling 2 rolls of carpet when he runs, and then just runs to anywhere. And then his feet just babble, and then he can't get the ball out of his foot.
It's using him correctly with the right manager.
Yeah.
Conte deployed him correctly, and he absolutely tore up Serie A. And then he goes to other managers where they try and treat him like a target man, and they just think, oh, he's a big, strong guy, he could be a target man. It doesn't.
So for
work
Lukaku,
like
needs
that.
to be paired with somebody. You would
Yeah.
have thought.
Yeah.
Like I said, Lautaro
When he was
Martinez.
with Martinez,
Yeah. But you have him on his own. He's just a donker.
Yeah.
That's how I feel when I watch him, because he just looks lost. But I'd still put Oliver Giroud ahead. Like if you did your combined Milan, it would be a front two of Lautaro Martinez and Oliver Giroud.
Oh, I can't agree with that one.
Because there's not. I mean, even I'd probably even the case for Edin Dzeko at Inter.
Dzeko, I would say, is better than Giroud.
Is Dzeko gone now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in Turkey now, I think, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is it Fenerbahce?
I think it's Fenerbahce or something. He's not gone Galatasaray. I think it's Fenerbahce he's gone to.
Did he do that just before Saudi started buying players? He's like, fuck.
I bet he is good because everyone's getting like 700 to £1 million plus a week. He's like,
Hey, what about Jordan Henderson,
and
though?
now I'm in Turkey.
What about Jordan Henderson, though?
Yeah, fucking hell.
Gone to the Saudi.
£700,000 a week, quadrupled his wages from what he's on.
Do you think he's a bit of a hypocrite, though?
Yeah.
I do. Because like Beckham would during the World Cup.
Yeah.
It's just,
Just happy to take the money and not sort of, stand up.
Forget about all the stuff you said before, just wipe aside, it's...
My thing is, football's a short career. Obviously, that money doesn't come around every day. But at the same time, don't campaign for certain causes and then go to a country that outright just does not agree with
That's
us.
my point of view, is because when someone's offered you quadrupled your weekly wage, and he's 30 something now, so you're staring down the barrel at retirement. So you're probably thinking the longevity of you and your family for, like you say, your footballing career is very fleeting, it's very short. And then he's like, okay, well, he's now offering me £700,000 a week for, I don't know, is it 2 years, 3 years, is out there for something like that? So you're essentially making sure your future, not only for you but for your kids, is fine. But at the same time, I get the prospect of the things he's campaigned for. But there's no country on this planet that's, say, squeaky clean for any kind of law.
It's not life-changing money, though, is it? His life was changed a long time ago with the money he's earning. This is just what level of rich you are.
I think that is life-changing for him.
I don't know how much it's more life-changing for his grandkids.
This is the longevity of his family when you think about it. Because I don't know how to say if he did, £700,000 a week, and then you divide that by 4, so he's getting £175,000 a week. So now he's earning £700,000 a week, and so now he's probably thinking, okay, well, when I'm done, what do you do? What do you do when you retire? Like, how much have you saved? How much you haven't saved? Have you put it into anything that can be financially viable for you in the future, for you and your family? Have you invested it? And he's probably thinking, no, John Lennon probably has done. He's probably got loads of investment. It's like bloody James Milner. He's probably getting tea bags or something. Do you know what I mean? But it's probably things. Yeah, you're never going to earn that money anywhere else again, and it's for a very short space of time. And at least now you can see you and your family sorted for a long time after you do retire.
It's just the thing. Me and Tess were talking about this. Though it's not just that. It's the wives and girlfriends. Surely, how do they feel about it? Going to a country where they don't get respected and stuff like that. And that's a big decision on their part.
Thing is, you put up with it for that kind of money, don't you? You're not going to be living out there forever.
Yeah. So they're going to be women are still allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia now, so she can drive.
It's still way behind everything else. Though.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think.
How much money do you have to?
Great size. Is that okay?
How much money does it take to sort of be? How much money does it take for you to sort of be okay? I sort of don't care that that you can live with yourself with it. Like, I would hate to sort of, know that I betrayed a load of people in that way. Regardless of how much money I get, wouldn't make it better. I'd feel shit about myself. So it's just the idea that you can be bought. And that's part of what becomes an element of sports watching. There's no way that the Saudis weren't thinking, if we can show that this guy, the Rainbow Laces guy, one of the few footballers to actually speak out about homophobia in football, can be bought in this way, like what it says for them that they can do that. I mean, when they did the announcement and they showed a video of him, they deliberately put everything in black and white around the captain's badge so that you couldn't see it. And it's just like, if you're Henderson, what are you thinking there? You're thinking, oh, it's a bit shit, but I'm making a lot of money. Like, it's a bit sad.
It almost comes down to cultural of people's different country. That's like now almost saying you want to dictate how a country should be ran.
Fair point.
Just like a lot of people would probably like to dictate how things happen here in the UK.
But it doesn't mean that he has to go there. He can be like, well, I don't want to go there because of it.
Yeah,
that's not then dictating what they do.
No, it's not. But clearly he originally didn't agree with maybe their cultural laws in their country. Mm-hmm. But it's still their right to there. So, but for his mind, he doesn't see it as an issue anymore. But it's just that's.
Because of the money.
Yeah, it is, and that's it, money talks.
It does. It comes down to a thing where everyone has all the views of their people. As soon as you get offered a massive paycheck, it goes out the window.
Yeah. Everyone has a price. Look at golf.
Yeah.
They're all kicking off.
Yeah.
And then very quickly...
And they go by Live Golf by the PGA Tour.
Yeah. And it's all backfired massively now. It's fucking... Well, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Adios, Jordan Henderson. I hope I don't see you in England squad again.
Yeah, that's right. Do you reckon he'll be in England squad now?
Nah, it's over.
You think that's it?
Well, Gareth Southgate said, like, it doesn't matter where he plays, like, he's a good player. So why not?
Yeah, but there's been said before that if you're not in the top... like if you went to the MLS, would you still be considered for the England... If you were...
I think Southgate has his favourites, and I think he would actually pick Jordan Henderson.
Yeah, that's it. But if you're like a younger English person went over to the MLS, it looked like he could be a prospect for the England, but because he's in the MLS, would he still get the same?
It's like Tamar at AC Milan.
Yeah.
It's a strange policy to have, though.
He does. He has his favourites. That's why Kieran Trippier is always a right back, and you always see Mason Mount in the team, and even I'm like,
not a big fan of Mason.
No,
well, we can get to that then.
I'm gonna have to edit this because this has got to get in the podcast. I'm gonna have to. We'll film a start, put it in front of the Saudi Arabia chat, and then chop it in, and then go from there. So yeah,
the bonus outtake.
Yeah.